Yes, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whoever you support. Welcome back. This is the Spurs review episode. I don't know, what is it, 37, 38, something along those lines. And look, we've got James Flower, we've got Lubo, we've got the enigma that is Lee, and we've got Chris to answer all your resident referee VAR questions because he absolutely loves it. Before I get to those guys, I'll just say this. I've never seen a fan base in such a meltdown, sitting in fourth place after 6 games, have lost 1 in 9. And guys, girls, I get it. Yesterday was shit. I get it. Yesterday was horrendous. I get it. But I'm seeing Frank out. I'm seeing Javi Simmons is a waste of money. I've never seen anything like it. Let me start with Lee. How you doing, Lee? You well?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you for having me on.
Good. Always. Lee, I'll start by asking. Yesterday was shit. I think we all universally acknowledge it was shit and that Frank got it wrong. But if I had said to you, 6 league games gone, we're sitting in the top 4. We've lost 1 out of 9 competitive games this season. We won our first Champions League game. We're through in the cup. We're not letting in many goals. Would you not have taken that? And why is there such a meltdown?
I think the problem with it is, for a lot of people, is that after winning a cup and sacking your manager, it's almost like we want instant step up to the next level, right? It's going to take time. Frank needs time to understand his team and players. He's still got players out. He's still got players, multiple players in positions that he needs to look at. It's a lot of people have run out of patience, though, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have run out of patience. The last couple of years have really put a dent in the fan base in terms of, we were constant top 4, constant this, that. Now it's like we've got to get back there. We can't. I don't know. I'm quite level-headed with this stuff. I understand it takes time, but some people just want instant response, right? And it's just don't think it's going to work that quickly.
Yeah, I mean, look, Lubo, let me bring you in here. You and I had this chat many times throughout the summer, and we predicted this, Lubo. We said that fans are going to lose their minds, but that this is going to be up and down. And he's taken over a team sitting in 17th that have lost 22 games of football. We didn't buy what we needed. And everyone already is suddenly expecting that we're going to be watertight at the back, banging in loads of goals up front. It's a bit much, isn't it, Lubo? Or am I not worried enough? I don't know.
I think we said, I think came on here in July, August and said, first half of the season, I think there's going to be some strange results and some good results. I think you can see Frank's working to our strengths. Our strengths are in defence. Mm-hmm. And I think although a lot of people, including myself, sort of looked at the team selection yesterday, I've been thinking about it during the course of today and thinking, why is he playing so defensively? Because I personally wouldn't have started with Milani and Bentancur, but I would have had Bergval and Simmons as the other two. So with Milani, you would have had, for me, the 3 that were very good at Brighton last week, and I think he's doing that because he's still not sure about the front line. The front line isn't clicking. And he's working from strength, and he's hoping to nick some goals and keep it tight. And if you can win 1-0 or 2-1, then he's done a good job. And to be honest with you, we don't have a forward line that's functioning. We don't have a left winger. For me, we only have one orthodox proper left winger, and he's 17 years old in the under-21s, and that's Tynan Thompson, who was on the bench for the first time on Wednesday against Doncaster. Who obviously isn't ready. Otherwise, Frank would have him in regularly now. So I think people have just got to be patient. It's going to be very up and down. We've got, I think, 19 games now between Bodo on Tuesday and I think it's Palace on the 29th or Brentford on the 29th of December before the window opens. So I think we got 13 league games, 5 Champions League, and Newcastle away in the League Cup. And I think everyone's got to be patient because he needs to bring players in. Can you imagine what we'd have done to Wolves yesterday with a proper 11 and a proper centre forward? We'd have absolutely battered them. So I think people have just got to realise what we've got, what he's got, what he's working with, and sort of lay off and just be a bit patient. You know, we're fourth. You know, every single fan would have taken that.
Exactly.
When the ref blew the first whistle at home to Burnley on the 16th of August, everyone would have taken 4th place 6 weeks later. So for me, he'll get it right. He's trying different things. He's trying to work out what's best, what's going to get him through in the best way to get the best possible results between now and the window. They are, Spurs already said they are looking at 3 potential left wing situations. I don't think one of them was Savio because City have given us no encouragement whatsoever, and now we hear he's signing. So they're looking at 3 left wingers at the moment. And hopefully we'll pick up one in the transfer window. But these things take time, and you know what? We're 4th. We were 3rd last week. We were 17th. People have just got to give their heads a wobble and think, do you know what? We ended the season in 17th position. By the way, I think Angie's back there tonight in 17th. Just relax and chill and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the journey. This will ultimately be very good. I personally think we'll finish 6th and we'll win the Europa next year. I think that's our best chance of the first trophy under Frank. But people are too negative. Just relax.
I agree. I mean, James, are people going overboard? I mean, Lubo is right. 6 weeks ago, if I'd said to everyone, 4th after 6 games, we've only lost 1 of them, we'd take it, right?
Yeah. Of course, there's always sort of bigger picture, and the bigger picture is we're 4th, so that's fantastic. But there has been sort of performances that are also worrying. The Bournemouth yesterday, for me, there was a lot of signs that we just purely wasn't good enough. And just going to kind of repeat what you guys have said. Like, he's not only is he coming into a fresh squad, you can see clearly his first thought is defence and set pieces. So we've kind of kicked our miles and levels ahead when it comes to both defending and set pieces. He's going to need time to work with his front 3. But like we've said before, I wish he would just make up his mind, get his front 3 or 4, stick with it, and then just run with it. Not keep changing and moving our better players into positions that they can't, because I personally believe that's making the front 3 or 4 even weaker.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, let me come to you, Chris. Lubo, we'll do the free for all after Chris has had his say. I mean, Chris, listen, I don't disagree to a degree with what James is saying, but so far, has Frank had the option to play what he might consider his best 3? Are we seeing signs here that he doesn't trust any of those left-sided players? The fact that nearly everyone's had a run out there and he can't choose which one. Where are you at with all of this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the last comment from James is, I mean, football's judged in hindsight, isn't it? So I think if he sticks with a 3 and it doesn't work and he refuses to change it, you criticise him for not changing it. So in that sense, my view is I don't think anything's going to work. I don't think he has the ingredients to make our front 3 work right now. So it doesn't matter whether he sticks, whether he twists. And I think that's what you've seen from him, is he's trying desperately to find what might work when things are not going our way. But I'm totally fine with it. I'm not concerned at all, because when the window shut, I looked at the squad we had and thought, there's no way, with the injuries we currently have, with who's available to him right now, there's no way that front top end of the pitch is going to click. A, it takes time anyway when you have new players in. B, it just doesn't have the strength in depth there at all for it to, and that's the hardest part of the game, right? To look fluid and creative and break down low blocks. That's the hardest part of the game. So what I wanted from Frank was to come in, make a structured, organised, harder to beat, maximise what he can maximise, which I think he has done with set pieces, the throws and the corners we look more dangerous from. And that top end of the pitch is a work in progress that's going to take quite a while. I thought when the window closed, we're going to have plenty of games where we huff and puff, and the lack of quality will mean that we can't break them down. If we don't get a moment of magic from a Simmons or a Kudus or something, then we're going to have plenty of games like this. So whilst the game in itself was disappointing, in the grand scheme of things, I fully expected games like that. I fully expect more games like that. I don't think there's anything he can really do about it until he either gets some players back from injury or we get to January and we buy new players. So I'm absolutely not panicking about it whatsoever. It was crap and it was dull. But it's all very well saying, oh, he got it wrong. Tell me what getting it right is with the current crop of players we have, because I don't think there is a getting it right for me.
Do you know what, Chris? What I find really interesting about this is when the transfer window shut and during the transfer window, when fans, I use myself because I won't use others. People can talk for themselves. When fans like myself are saying, we've not done what we needed to in this window, and fans like me are told to be patient, right? Doesn't all happen in one window. They're the same fans that when we're not winning every game go, we're not winning every game. Well, yeah, because we didn't do what we needed to in the window, and you told me to be patient. Now you're not being patient. Now, I want to talk about the forwards, guys. I want to talk about the forwards because, look, this is clearly the biggest issue we've had all season. Guys, I'm going to put it out there, and if anybody gets upset by this, not you guys on the panel, I think Richarlison is one of the worst strikers I've seen in a Spurs shirt. I think he's absolutely horrendous. I truly, truly think he is horrendous. Brennan Johnson, again, if he's not scoring, he doesn't do anything. He has no quality to his game. Odegaard and Tell are not Premier League level. I'm going to call that out straight away. Solanke, we don't know because he's injured. Milani is what? The longest dead leg in the history of anyone who's had a dead leg, right? Why are people so surprised, guys, that it's not clicking up front? What is it that they're expecting? Last year, we had Maddison, Kulu, Son, Solanke, if you want to say Solanke. This year, we've got, other than Kudus, we've got Richie and Johnson and Tell and Odegaard. Why are people surprised that it's not clicking up front?
I'd just say it's a complete lack of quality, right? I think, as I said to you earlier, the only quality or any kind of outlet for something that can change the game is Kudus. And yesterday, I think in the first half, he wasn't up to his usual self. He wasn't picking the ball up and doing what he's doing, and that creativity was removed from the front line, and you could see we just didn't really have anything. So, and that's a massive piece, right? When you're playing with only one person in the team that can affect a game in some way, when they're having an off day or they don't start, it just shows the complete lack of creativity, which has been our biggest problem. Now, we've had this talk about Simmons and what his position is, but I don't know how Frank gets around that if he thinks that the guys on the left are just no good and it's worth starting him here and putting, the golden boy Bergval. Listen, he's done really well this season, but again, I don't think he's that type of creative player.
I'll refute that in a minute, Lee. Just so you know.
I think it's
I'm
got
going to refute that in a minute. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. I think he's so overhyped.
Listen, I'm not hyping him.
No, not you.
As one of the younger players, he's definitely done better than the rest of them. But it's almost got to this point where I'm like, I'm trying to think about this in my head. You've got a number 10 in Javi Simmons, right? You want to bed him into the team, but you're bedding him out of position. It's almost like someone said, Bergval's getting hype at the moment. Don't drop him. Keep playing him that position where, personally, I think we've looked more effective when Xavi's moved into the 10, Bergval's gone into the sort of 8 and left Pialini behind him. So this is the bit that I don't get. Is it just lack of quality or is it Frank not seeing what we see, which is stupid because we're not Premier League managers and he is, so we got no reason to question him. I know what I would like. He's just not doing it, and I don't know why that is. Is it pure lack of?
Couldn't it be both though? Couldn't it? Because I mean, I know we're talking about forwards, and I want to stick with the forwards because there's things I want to say. But I think also by moving Simmons to the left, I think you can get away with one okay centre midfielder. When you're adding two, not only have you got no one creating up front or in midfield, it's complete game over. I think you could get away with a Polinia and a Sarr, or a Polinia and a Bergval if Simmons is in front.
Yeah.
You cannot get away with Polinia, Bergval, and Bentancur. You just can't.
I agree.
So
the creativity,
even though I
the link between the wings and the forward just disappears, right?
Even though I want to blame it all on the front three, this is my one criticism. Listen, and I'm giving Frank time. I want Frank to do really well. But my one criticism is by putting Simmons on the left, I think you're isolating 50% of Simmons' creativity and what he can do. And also in doing that, you're playing Bergval, Bentancur, Polinia, which is taking away huge amount of technical ability in the midfield. And look, let's face it, even sort of the teams that are coming up now have people like Xhaka coming in the midfield. You can't have Xhakas against people like Bergval, Bentancur, Polinia. For me, we do need to focus on the front three. But for me, the one thing that I'm not happy with what Frank's doing is he's not only is he making our left, maybe he's making it better by not playing Tell, but we've still got two weak positions and now a weak midfield.
James, by the way, I agree with you, and I'm going to show you something in a bit, but can we maybe say then maybe this squad isn't what loads of people thought it was? And what I mean by that is I'm seeing people going, midfield depth. I don't think we've got midfield depth. I think we've got, volume, yes, but quality, I don't see it. I don't see that we've got a single number 8 at this club where I go, core, your quality. I see that we've got a quality 6 in Paulinho, and then I see 3 players that could be rotated alongside him in Bentancur, Sarr and Bergval. None of them for me, sorry, I know everyone in the chat's going to go mad. None of them for me I watch and go, core, yeah. Bergval included. I think Bergval runs around a lot, and I think people go, this... In a game, I don't know how he affects it. I don't know how he affects it. And the problem is, we haven't got anyone in that midfield that can get the ball down and tick the game over. We haven't got anybody that goes, I'll run the game. And I've said that for years, by the way, James. This isn't this season. I've said this for years. We have not got a number 8 that can control a game of football. Now add to that we don't have a left winger. Now add to that we've not got one good striker at the club. I think that people should be absolutely praising the fact that we're squad rather than finding reasons to talk about wanting to sack a manager.
Is it fair to say that? Is it fair to say that? Look, there's levels between Polinia and Polinia and Bissouma, levels. But isn't it not fair to say that it's almost like we've taken Bissouma out, put Polinia in, and expecting it all to be like problem solved? It's still the same thing. Polinia is still putting out fire after fire after fire after fire, and then expected to get it forward, score the goals, be the playmaker. And that's why, for me, my main criticism is moving Javi to left wing. He has to play in midfield. I think if you've got a midfield 3 that can kind of defend and attack, look, we're going to struggle with the left winger and striker, but we need to kind of get things pushing in the right direction rather than try to move one player from out of position to fix a position and making 2 positions worse, in my opinion.
Could it be that he's just getting him used to the Premier League? Could it be that he's come in, he said when he first joined that he wasn't 100% fit? Could it be that he's just trying to get him adjusted? And now
I would agree with that. The only reason I don't agree with, I would agree with that in hindsight, but every time Frank does an interview after a game, he went, when he come on at number 10, he changed the game. He said it again this weekend. He said, last week when he come into the number 10, he changed the game. It's like, well, so you're seeing this and you're still choosing to put him out of position. Like that for me is what I don't understand. And look, this is nothing about Frank.
Maybe because he doesn't rate any of the left-sided players at all. Because the problem is, here's the problem, right? And I'll sorry if you guys hear the dogs. Sorry, they're just going out for a walk. Sorry. They've gone. Right. Here's the problem. Whoever plays on that left wing, I'll call it out. I've said this all summer. I think they are so weak that it makes the team weaker than having Bergval in the 10 and Simmons on the left cutting in with Udogi overlapping. I think our left wingers are that bad. I don't think any of them are Premier League level. There you go. Have that. I don't think Odegaard, Tell, any of them are Premier League standard. I think the teams that have come up have got better wingers than those players. And maybe Frank's looking at that and going, what do I do? I don't know. I don't know. Just a theory. Just a theory.
So why isn't Frank realising that the moment he splits Javi and Kudos up, that they both get worse? The moment Javi comes in the midfield, Kudos ups his game because he's got someone to play with. In my opinion.
I hear you. But that's not what I said. I hear you. I agree. I want to see, by the way, Javi Simmons in the 10. But all I'm saying is all of our left-sided players are absolutely crap.
I would call Belize back, to be honest.
You can't call players back outside of a transfer window, so
I'd get him back. Save the season. Send him Richarlison and we'll get Belize back.
This is what I don't. Sorry, this is one of the reasons I don't get. I was a big advocate last season to say that I thought, take Son out of the equation, I thought that Mikey Moore was better than anyone we had on the left, right? And this is why I don't get why Mikey Moore went off his own accord because he wanted minutes. Because I personally think that Mikey Moore would have done a job on that left-hand side much better than Tell or Odegaard would.
If you watched him,
I know he's young, but given those two players, and you got Xavi Simmons coming in, put him in the 10, he would have been much better on that left than those two guys.
Based on what though? Based on what?
Based on the games that you watched him play, based on the way he conducts. Hold on, Chris, hold on. It doesn't take 5 hours to understand and watch a player to see what he does when he gets the ball at his feet is a lot better technically than the other two players that you see week in, week out, just running into players.
Mikey Moore, almost every game he's played for us has looked not Premier League standard. He's gone to Scotland, he's playing against teams that probably wouldn't do well in the Championship and hasn't looked at that standard.
Okay, so, well, I've not watched him. I've not watched him in Scotland because I watched the Scottish League.
They say he's so weak, he just gets brushed off the ball all the time. And that's by, like, I don't know, St Mirren. And so I just can't buy into that. He's not ready, anywhere near remotely ready for the Premier League.
But aren't we arguing apples and apples here? Isn't the point that isn't the point that we shouldn't have any of those three players should be nowhere near Tottenham Hotspur yet? More definitely not yet.
We can't do anything about it, though, can we?
No, sure. I know we can't. But this is the point. When we're arguing about, like the other day, the argument was Solomon should be here. You know, today someone's arguing for Mikey Moore should be here. Isn't the argument that none of these players who are not good enough to be in a top 4, 5, 6 team in the Premier League should be here? I'm watching Newcastle today bring on Harvey Barnes, right? Now, before you all think I'm hyping Harvey Barnes is their backup winger. Right now, he'd be our best left winger, right? That's how far we've fallen. Arsenal have got Martinelli and Madueke and Saka and Trossard, right? We've got Tell and Odegaard as left wing options. And the problem is that we're doing is, and when people say this, this is two wrongs don't make a right. Letting Son go was the right thing to do. Not replacing him is where the travesty is. And I've said this. So when, like, on the Spurs 5 the other day, they all went at me. Impatient. It was a really good window. I said it wasn't a really good window because we are left unbalanced. We are left massively unbalanced. And everyone's telling me it's okay. But it's not. We've got no striker of note and no left winger. How can you start a Champions League campaign like that? So for me, I think what he's getting out of these players, yes, yesterday was shit. 100% blame on Frank. But I think what he's actually got out of these players in these 9 games, to lose one of them 1-0, I think he's worked wonders with what he's got. Because I think going forwards, I would say we have got the weakest set of forward players Here we go. I'll tell you what, let's bring this up, shall we? Tell me who's got weaker set of forward players in the Premier League. Here we go. Who's got a weaker set of players there? Palace have got better players than us. Mateta, Star, right? I'd take Mateta and Star in our team in a heartbeat over Richarlison and any of our left wingers. All right, Sunderland, you can have the argument. Bournemouth, I'm taking Bournemouth's. City, Chelsea, Brighton, Fulham. It's embarrassing. Sorry, rant over.
Do you know what's also embarrassing for Sava? Is I watched the Villa game earlier, right? And I still can't believe there were people pissing and moaning saying they would not have John McGinn at this club.
Oh, all day.
Mate, that guy just sits in the middle and just conducts, doesn't he? As much as he possibly can. I'd have him in a heartbeat at this club.
Agreed. Look, Lubo, let me come over to you. Look, I know I'm not saying we can't do anything about the left winger position. And I am doing it. I told you so. I said, as soon as that window shuts, we are going to regret this transfer window because we have left ourselves painfully short of quality.
I think the other thing that's interesting about the first 6 games of this season, if you split the home games and the away games, the way Frank sets us up is far better for away games than home matches. For me, I think, and we picked up 7. We picked up 7 out of 9 away and 4 out of 9 at home. We're struggling to beat a low block because of the creativity that's lacking in the team. But the problem is he's setting us up exactly the same for both. Whereas it's okay when you're away from home, if you've got Palhinha and Bentancur there, you play Simmons in the 10. But at home you need more. And I think he's played Simmons on the left, doesn't he, in home games? And it's a problem. Away from home, we're doing fine. It's 2 wins and a draw out of 3 games. You can't complain at that. And I think he's just got to tweak it a bit when he plays home games and away games. He's got to change the system a bit. But I think he's just worried because of the lack of creativity and the lack of punch we've got up front. And I think that's what's holding him back. That's why that's why he's not letting us. That's why we're sort of reined in a bit, aren't we? You're playing. He's playing 2 defensive midfielders at home, plus your back 4, plus your goal. You're only playing 7. You're only playing 4 attacking players in effect, and we've got a problem on the left, and we've got a problem at centre forward. And when Simmons is slightly off, as he was yesterday, and it's gonna take him time to get into his stride, the same way that Florian Wirtz is struggling at Liverpool, and they paid 116 million for him, so you can't expect players.
Some fans are saying he's a waste of money and he's a flop and he should get out. He's had like 3 games for Tottenham Hotspur, or 3.5 games.
I know, that's why Frank's got a real problem for the next 3 months getting us through. And he'll do it to the best of his ability, and we will be lower than we should be purely because we haven't got the players. And I think he will probably get us into the best possible league position he can. And if he can bring those players in during January, then I can see us having a terrific last 4 or 5 months. So I think people have just got to realise where we are, where we've come from. We got beaten 9 of the last 12 games. In fact, 10 of the last 12 games in the league. 9. We have 1 win, 2 draws, 9 defeats. Everybody was getting fed up. We were coming on here every single Sunday. Another defeat. Here we go again. And we were dropping. And we were never in any relegation trouble at any stage. And that was because the bottom 3 were so far adrift that nobody else was ever in any real danger. But thank God he's come in. He's given us a structure. He's given us organisation. I think people just got to relax a bit. We're going to get games like yesterday where we struggle with a low block. I thought some of the football, there were patches of football in the first half. Kuda, the cross, was it Simmons' cross where Johnston tipped Kudus' header onto the bar. Fabulous cross. Really good move that was. Another good move, which unfortunately was ruled out, was the back heel from Bergval to Kudus when he was offside. Kudus cutting in and shooting. You know, there were flashes in the first half. I thought the first half was average. I don't think it was poor. We showed a lot more in the first half than we did in the second. The second half was just appalling. That was dreadful. That was dreadful. And it needed a really good goal. And, you know, Tell gets tremendous abuse on a lot of channels. But I've got to tell you something. Odegaard worked hard, got the ball back, gave it to Tell. Tell skipped inside his man, played a lovely ball into Sava. Fabulous layoff and a great finish by Polinia.
What are we doing here? This is what we do
in the second half. So
those two should not be at Tottenham. Surely you get that. These two should not be at Tottenham Hotspur.
But they're there.
No, but that's not. Yeah, but if we do that, we won't have YouTube channels. Yeah. But if that's your answer to everything, then my YouTube channel dies, doesn't it? If the answer to everything is but they're there. Lubo, those two are not good enough for Tottenham Hotspur.
No, but if I didn't say they're good enough, what I'm doing, we're talking about yesterday's game. So there were, you know, we're discussing all the incidents. On one occasion, they linked up Odegaard, Tell, Sar, Polinia, and we scored. That was all we did.
When you say linked up, you mean one gave a 5-yard pass, the other one hit a low cross, which Sar controlled and laid off for the goal?
Beautifully.
Like, you're making out like they've had a 1-2 all the way down the pitch. And...
No, it was a lovely layoff. Listen, it was a good move. At least put your hand up and say it was a good goal.
But
the rest of it was
crap. It was a great goal by Paulinho, yes, but I'm not going to go telling Odegaard we're amazing for it. Sar, for me...
I didn't use the word amazing. I said it was a good goal. And that was,
when you start, Lubo, when you start it with, well, I must tell you this, it sounds like you're trying to oppose the general view that they're rubbish.
I didn't say that. But if
a blind squirrel finds a nut, Lubo, if they're on the pitch long enough, they're going to do something at some point.
Are we discussing facts or are we discussing fiction? If we're discussing facts, then we're discussing what went on.
No one ever said that they're never ever going to occasionally do something, right? So I don't know what you're speaking up against, because no one's ever going to say that.
Me personally,
no one said they didn't play a part in the goal yesterday, right?
It was a good goal. It was well made, and that was all we did second half. But
by the way, though, I'm completely with you for pretty much everything you said in terms of. That's why I'm not that bothered by what happened yesterday, because I expected it. And when you look at the players we've got now, I completely agree with you. That was always going to happen. And I expect it to happen again plenty more times. But I'm fine with it, because this season, what I see is a manager who's come in, put a structure in place, maximize the basics, put the foundations in place. So the things that are repeatable in every game, the structure, maximizing the set pieces, how you line up at corners, how you line up at throw-ins. He's addressed all of that. The magic stuff at the top end of the pitch is a longer term project. So there's nothing I see yesterday where I think tactically we're hugely flawed. Whereas last season, and I know you're going to agree with me, Lubo, because we're on the same page. We'd go to a lot of the games knowing exactly what we were going to see, and you'd see it again and again and again, and you'd think, well, hold on a minute, just tweak it slightly and this wouldn't happen. I don't see any of that happening. We can argue as much as we like about the permutation of that top 3 or 4, but I think whatever you do, we'll just end up playing the hindsight game of, well, he got that wrong and he got that wrong, because I don't think there's any getting it right with the current selection of players he has. He's got. Is
it fair to say, though, from yesterday, Chris? Is it fair to say that when I looked at what Wolves were bringing on, now this is Wolves, right? And I'm not going to buy into the whole Wolves are crap, they're bottom of the league. Yeah. Look, Wolves were fantastic the second half of last season, so. You know, a bad start this year, yes. It felt like Wolves were bringing on men. I don't know if you saw, like, it felt like everyone Wolves brought on looked physical, powerful, right? They were massive. Everyone we bring on, they look like children. Like, Odegaard, but they're shoved off the ball telling Odegaard, like, and Johnson, like, you can just go, see you later. And for me, this is what we need to do. We need to do more of the Paulinho. He's a man, isn't he? He's a strong physical man, isn't he? Kudus, he's a man. He's strong. He's physical. All of these. and this comes down to this. I'll bring James and Lee in here. For me, this comes down to what we're seeing at the moment and what Frank is working with is we're seeing years of poor recruitment that is now catching up to us. This isn't one window, by the way. This isn't me going, oh my God, we should have just got a left wing on a striker and we're sorted. This is years of buying poorly that is catching up with us because we have built this squad with a lot of kids and a lot of players that don't particularly do anything. And I want to talk in a minute. I'm going to start with you, James. Let me caveat this, James, before I get absolutely hounded. I don't hate Bergval, right? I think Bergval's decent. I think there's something about him, and I think he's going to be a very good player in the future. But what am I missing? For every game this kid plays, people are going, cool, Bergval played well today. And I'm watching going, I've not really noticed you. Like, am I being harsh, James? Because I know you'll be brutally honest if I am or not.
No. For me personally, it's like what we've said the whole way through. I mean, I don't think any of our young kids are. I've sat there and gone, what a game. Any of them. I don't. I haven't. Mikey Moore, never seen it. Tell Odegaard, never seen it. Bergval, never seen it. The way that these players are hyped up as if they've actually kind of stepped onto a pitch and absolutely dictated it, bossed it.
Don't.
Dictated and bossed the game.
Sorry.
Listen, mate, they have good moments, and I agree they've had good moments, but they've never, for me, complete and utterly bossed the game or gone, wow, like 100% he needs to be starting, or he's got that spot as his own. He's made that. I feel like Bergval and Sava, if I'm honest, I think they're a certain type of game player, if that makes sense. I don't think they're a home game player. I think they're an away game player. I think you're not going to have the ball as much. You're going to do a lot of chasing, a lot of shutting down, a lot of the dog work. Then I think you don't get much better than Bergval and Sava. But I think when you've got the ball, I think Bergval's a bit of a headless chicken. And Sava is, mate, the guy can run. But technically, I think he's dreadful. Barring a good finish, he's got a good finish.
Yeah, Lee, let me bring you in here because, again, it's really difficult, right? Because if you say you don't think a player's amazing, people are suddenly down this magic microphone, Lee, think that what I'm saying is they're absolutely shit. I'm not. I think there is something about Bergval. For me, though, I don't see this obsession with starting him every game. I don't think he does enough for me. And I'll ask this question. I'm not sure right now what he actually is. I keep hearing that he's an 8, but his passing is all over the shop. I feel like he does everything at 100 miles per hour. There's no real end product. For me, I think we need much better in there. Sorry, call me harsh. Sorry, call me harsh.
Well, I completely agree with you. As I said to you earlier, I think he's definitely... I'm glad he's getting minutes. I don't necessarily think he should be the one that's starting because I think when we start... Frank's favourite at the moment seems to be Bentancur, Paulinho and Bergval, right? While he's playing Thingy Balboa on the left. And he's tend to... I went on a show with Ash the other day, actually, and it's quite interesting listening to him because it's not really... I don't think we really play with a 10. We play with more like 2 8s, one that's sort of inside on the left and on the right. And I had a big problem with Bergval and Sava starting because they tend to push forward too much and don't give any link up with Paulinho. Whereas Bentancur does, he naturally sits in the middle between the two. But what happens then is sort of Bergval is the more advanced 8, but he's not creative enough to make... He's not a game changer, right? He's not the one that's sitting there, making those little intricate passes like Maddison can do or Kulu potentially could do, he does for Sweden, etc. He's more of an 8 than he is a more advanced sort of 8-10, if you like. So, and this is the biggest thing for me. I don't listen. We've all got our opinion on what we think Frank's doing, whether he's got anyone on the length. Sure. But if you've got Javi, I don't understand why he's not playing him and letting Bergval drop and not giving as much time to Bentancur, because I think Bergval can do that. He can do the Bentancur role. He's younger. He's more athletic. So, but he's not the game changer. He's not the one that's going to control the game, and that's I think that's what we're missing. So I'm glad he's getting minutes, but listen, I'm not going to put him on a pedestal and say he's fantastic. I think he's done well so far.
Yep, agreed.
But I don't think this is really hard because I don't think you've got anyone else. I wouldn't say he's not a starter. I just wouldn't start him in that more advanced role, because what else we've got in reserve, like Sarr, etc. Again, I don't think they're technically gifted enough to be playing in those advanced roles anyway. So I just think he's being started in the wrong position.
Can I ask you this?
I think sorry, I just want to go back to that one part where you said you think Bergval could play the Bentancur like role. If I'm honest, I really can't. I don't think Bentancur is good enough at all. But at least he's calm on the ball. He's like, okay, I'm calm. It's okay. I've got the ball. I can turn.
You say that, James, though, but I'll tell you what. Go back to the last
get the
match.
Ball, let me do everything I can. Lose it. Okay, start again. For me, that's why I give him the headless chicken phrase. I think there's a long way for him to go to just relax rather than think that he's going to win the game on his own. He's not. The moment he gets out of his game, I think he'll be 10 times the player he is now. He tries to force
this
everything.
Bentancur thing is a fallacy, mate. I'll tell you why. We went and did a breakdown of him on Ash's channel the other night, and Bentancur might look comfortable. No, what he does is he picks the ball up, and then what he does with it, he plays it backwards.
No, I agree, and I'm not saying
and
anything
it
other
is
than
so
that. But
frustrating
I'm
to watch. Whereas
but
Bergval does
what
the
I'm
opposite.
saying,
when he gets the ball in there, he
complete
likes to
opposite,
progress forward. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think either of them can play the role good enough for Tottenham Hotspur. But I just
don't
think
get me
that
wrong, they are not.
Opposite.
We need someone much better than them.
I think they're the complete opposite. I think Bergval, like you said, is like he's always just chilled. Like, okay, I'll go back. It's easy. I'll just calm. Whereas for me, Bentancur, sorry. Whereas Bergval for me, it's too much. He's like, right, I've got the ball here. How can I turn this into a goal scoring opportunity? And he's in our 6-yard box. Sometimes he's just pass and move. Where I don't think he's got that in his locker yet, but he's still young. Like, that's the other thing.
Well, yeah, just on Bergval, where I agree completely with Lee. Why play him in like an advanced sort of 10 role? I've never seen this guy create anything in any game ever. What's the point in him playing there? Like, he can run with the ball and advance up the pitch.
Chris, what about the ball he played Johnson through on Wednesday night?
Oh,
come on!
What you mean for a Doncaster team who are pushed high up the pitch and wide open at the back that he just had to play?
Forget who you're playing.
But that's like
my
saying
nan could have made that
Sunday
pass. She died 15 years ago.
Sorry.
That's like me saying on the Sunday I played a 30-yard ball. Can I sign him?
Just heard. Bergval's never done it. Yes, he has done it. He did it on Wednesday night.
Right, he's never done it against any decent opposition. All right,
and what about the back hill yesterday? If Kudus had made his run
properly, so you think Bergval in the 10 is worthwhile persisting with?
No, he's not a 10. It's an 8.
Lubo, I love you, mate. I really do.
Are we not? Hang on. Are we not missing one key thing?
Hold on. You just come back at me aggressively.
Chris, hang on. Let me just...
No. Wait.
To all of you for the last 5 minutes.
No, I've hardly said anything. You've got to let me come back to that. I said last week. No, Lubo, I'm not letting you get away with it. I'm not letting you get away with it.
No, 7-20 at Brighton last
everything I said was we can't persist with him in the 10. And then you had a go at me, and I said, no, he's an 8. So you're agreeing with me then?
He's not with 10. But I'm just saying that
that was my whole point.
Chris, what the other two guys have been saying, what you've all been, not you, but on this occasion, Simmons came on at Brighton and ran the game. He was on the ball the whole time, in the 10, running it, playing the ball wide, terrific with Kudus. Playing the balls down the line. I think Udogi had a really good game at Brighton. And Simmons came on and he bossed it. And that's what you want from a 10. Yeah. He organised it.
Exactly, which is why I was saying, why are we playing Bergval there? He's not a 10. And then you went for me. And then you agreed with me.
What is he?
Bergval's the 8.
That was my point, Lubo. So why are you having a go at me? That was my point.
Okay. Guys, so without the number, without somebody telling me what number he is, what player is Bergval? What is he? Tell me his strengths.
Bergval's a box-to-box player. He's got great energy. He gets around the pitch. He does a lot of chasing, a lot of harrying. But I've got to tell you something.
So the first four things you've given me has been nothing about quality, right? The first four things you've given me, this is exactly the same thing I hear when people try and justify Solanke and Bentancur. Now, let me caveat this again. I can see flashes in Bergval where I think clearly the way he's built, the way he moves, the way he runs, I think like he could be a good player. But aren't we doing this thing? And you're the world's worst in our fan base at doing this, Lubo, of the young player passes the ball 5 yards. You go, oh, look at this. The other night, did you see that Archie Gray pass? Yes, we all saw it. Well done. England under 21 international made a 5-yard pass. Well done.
No, a fact was given. Someone said, I've never seen Bergval do it. Well, yeah, I just reminded you of Wednesday night. Doesn't matter who it's against. He played the pass. He saw the pass.
And I've conceded that. But the context was he's not good enough to play in a 10 for Tottenham.
We know he's not. Madison's a 10. Simmons is a 10. They're totally different.
Is he good enough? Here's my
overriding question. I don't think he's good enough to play in a number 8.
Right. There's my question. Is Bergval good enough to play the 8? And the question I'll ask to bolt onto that is, if you think he is, then what are our ambitions for Tottenham? Because I look at the hang on. I look at the clubs around us. I look at Newcastle. He gets nowhere near that 11, right? I look at Villa, right? At the moment, because they've got some injuries, he might get into their midfield. But when you've got Kamara, McGinn, Onana, Tielemans, he gets nowhere near it. He gets nowhere near Chelsea's or Liverpool's or City's or Arsenal's. So I've just named there the big 6 in the Premier League other than us, right? Give or take. I know people are in different positions in the league right now. He don't get anywhere near those teams. So is he good enough to play number 8 for Tottenham Hotspur right now? Doesn't mean you think he's shit if you say no, by the way. But should he be number 8, starting player, or is Frank right to pick Bentancur over him?
I think it's very defensive at home. I think away from home, Bentancur, Pellegrini are fine, but at home I would play Bergval in front of Bentancur to give you extra legs around midfield. I think it's too defensive playing Pellegrini and Bentancur in home matches. So I would play Bergval at home and bring.
You would drop Pellegrini in your home games.
Sorry,
you would drop Pellegrini in your home games.
No, I play Pellegrini with Bergval. I play Pellegrini as many games as he can do.
You just said Bentancur and Bergval.
I play Bentancur away and I play Bergval at home.
Oh, okay.
So can I ask then, if you've got that midfield, Lubo, let me ask you a follow-up question. If you've got that midfield with Paulinho and Bergval, who's passing the ball? How do we have any control over a game where both those two midfielders aren't people who like to pass?
Well, you hope that they get the ball to Simmons and Simmons does his magic the way he did at Brighton. I thought the midfield.
Sure, but that's not what controlling a midfield is, right? Like, we can all talk about the number 10, but I'm talking about running a game in midfield, not in the number 10.
If you lose the midfield battle, you lose the game. If you lose the midfield battle, in my opinion, I mean, it goes from grassroots football, doesn't it? You win the midfield battle, and you got a hell of a lot more chance of winning the game than you have without it. So for me, it's if you don't win that midfield battle, which is highly unlikely, then you can't do that.
No, but you've got to look at the players you've got in the squad. You can only play the players till January that you've got. So we're looking at the best options that we've got today.
Agreed. But do you agree we need an 8? Listen, I talked about this in the summer and I was told we had loads of depth.
I think so. I think Bergval is progressing. He's developing. He's only 19. How many other 19?
Of course.
Sure.
I know. But the problem is, this can't be the answer for every footballer at Tottenham. We are Tottenham Hotspur. I'll say this every single show. The answer for everybody who's not yet ready is, but they're only 19, but they're only 18, but they're only 20, but they're young. We're Tottenham Hotspur. We shouldn't be having a 19-year-old in our midfield if we're saying he's developing. Surely that should be the guy that comes on.
If you have to caveat it with "but he's anything," that tells you he's not ready for the first team.
Agreed. If he was playing for, let's just take, because Liverpool won the league last year, let's just kind of go with those. if any of our youngsters played for a team like Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, whoever, they would be getting 10 minutes at the end of a game maximum.
Yeah.
Maximum. And that's where they would be getting their experience. But us, because we are so poor in those areas, it's like, well, play them the whole game, see what happens. Like you said, I think this year, unfortunately, Frank is going to get brushed with it isn't good enough. But let's be honest, we've had 10 transfer windows realistically that haven't been good enough in a row, back to back to back. And we're now feeling the pressure from all of those. We've got too many players that are just pure crap.
By the way, can I just say, guys, my whole point to this isn't about Bergval in general, right? I don't think any of them are good enough. There you go. I don't think any of them are good. I think Paulinho is a fantastic number 6. He's good enough. I'm not putting him in that bracket, right? I don't think any of the other 4 are good enough that I turn around and go, yeah, they're going to get you top 4. That's Bentancur, that's Gray, that's Sarr, and that's Bergval. I think for me, if you said we've got 2 of those, but the other 2 were, I don't know, a Yuri Tielemans. I'm trying to be realistic with this, by the way, guys, right? I'm trying not to be hyperbolic and going Rodri or something like that. But if you had a Tielemans, right, a Wharton, right, if you had that type of player in there, I think you get away with a couple of them. We've stocked the midfield full of lots of 8s that don't really, none of them can control a game. So when people are going, oh, we're terrible on the ball, we're terrible at creating. Well, yeah, we've got no midfielder that can run a game, right? We've got no left winger and we've got no target man. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It goes all back to the point. I don't know what people are expecting from us as a football team right now.
Well, isn't it telling the fact that we have to have a conversation after every match about who should start in that 8? That's more than anything, right? And no one can go. I think generally most people will agree on who we think should start there, but you could probably do like a 4-way split between people thinking, oh, Sarr should start there, Bergval, Bentancur, etc. That's more telling than anything, because no one can agree on it, because you haven't got someone that's levels above all of them that starts every match, right? And these guys will come in for them for like, your 10 or 15 minutes. That's I think that's more telling than anything.
Well,
We can say that Paulinho 100% every match starts in that 6 if he can. I think you can say that about the defence. That position is just, as I said in the transfer window, I still think we were short in midfield. 100% we were short in midfield.
No, I truly agree. I think this is why, this is why for me, what I would have done this summer is either Basuma leaves or Gray goes out on loan and you go and bring in a midfielder. You go and bring in someone of real quality to control that game alongside Paulinho. Now, maybe that's what they wanted Morgan Gibbs-White for. Before I'm too harsh on the club, maybe that is what they wanted Morgan Gibbs-White for, to be more of an 8 that gets on the ball, passes and play. Because that would look quite nice. Paulinho, Morgan Gibbs-White and Javi Simmons is now a more experienced, polished midfield. But I've said this is a problem for ages. And the problem is everyone raves about all of our players, but we miss a conductor. We miss that guy. And I'm so adamant about this. But I know a lot of people are talking about Ruben Neves. See, Ruben Neves for a couple of years would absolutely gets on the ball. And it's that old thing, isn't it? We've all played or coached or whatever it is, right? It's that thing. It's that guy that gets it, gives it. And once he's given it, what's his first thought? How can I drop into space to receive it again? How can I move to get the ball again? Not one of ours is like that. And by the way, people talking about Paulinho's part. Listen, I get it, Nige. I'm not saying Paulinho can't pass, but it's not his game. The passing I'm talking about is controlling the game. I want Paulinho winning it and giving it to a Locatelli, a Ruben Neves, whoever, an Adam Wharton. That's what I want to see, guys. And I know it always gets misconstrued as negative, but that's why when I was asked where I think Spurs will finish, I said between 6th and 7th, because I think we're just lacking in that quality. We've got some good players, but I think we are 2 players, which is Paulinho and Kudus, away from having a very average football team. If Paulinho and Kudus don't play that is a very, very average football team, in my humble opinion.
I think if you don't have a good midfield, you have to have good wide players. I think you can make do with one or the other. You can't have neither. Games have got to be won somehow, and if they're not won in the midfield, they're won by forwards, and that's where we're complete car crashed, because I think we've got an okay midfield, but half of our front line is dreadful. Or, I mean, look, giving Frank a bit of credit in the respect of moving Simmons to the left, and I don't really want to divert, or I don't know if you want to divert, but with moving him to the left wing, that's okay if people actually see that if we had a good left back that could attack. I was told last season about Destiny Udogi, about how good he is going forward. He's so good at getting to the byline and crossing the ball. I'm sorry.
Don't get Chris started. This is his bugbear, James.
I said it all last season. Mate, the guy is a fraud. He cannot beat his man. And if he does beat his man, he has no end product. You might as well have Richarlison there. So the fact that Javi cuts in, so like we had this conversation the other day about potentially playing 4 players behind Richarlison to help it out with the left or right-sided attacking. For me, I think Spence has to stay left back, and you have to push Porro on forward because he's more of an attacker than Udogi. Udogi's attacking ability is absolutely shocking, and that don't help Simmons at all.
Far from getting me started, mate. I'm on the verge of standing up and giving you an ovation. I couldn't agree anymore.
Let's pivot there, guys. I love a pivot.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Now, let me try and play devil's advocate with the Udogi thing. I love the fact that he gives left-sided balance, but that should be a given, right? Because he's a left back. That should be a given. I love Lubo. We spoke about this on the phone earlier. I think Destiny Udogi is absolutely top class at getting in the right positions. I think he's absolutely top class at it. The number of times yesterday that he was in that position and I'm like, get the ball across. No, okay, next time get the ball across. Get the ball across. Didn't do it this time either. What about this time? No. And that, for me, is what desperately needs to be worked on with this fullback. He gets all the way up the pitch, gets to the byline. He has zero end product. His crossing is very poor, right? He hesitates.
Have you seen him cross?
But you see yesterday, he hesitates. And when he did try and get a crossover, he's taken so long now, the fullback's got back at him. So I'm 50-50 with Udogi because he gets in the right positions. But all these people that go, oh, he's really good going forward, I've got no evidence that he is good going forward at the moment. So,
well, wasn't it Richarlison yesterday that was in? I mean, listen, I can't stand Richarlison, but wasn't he on the 6-yard box with not a single soul around him? Udogi's on the byline, and you're like, just past it. You took about 8 touches and lost the ball, and you're like, why? Like, what are you even thinking? For me, it's like they must have fell out or say, you know, when you're growing up and there's that one kid you don't want to pass to. It was almost like that. I didn't get it. I really didn't get it.
Lubo, where are you with this?
Well, I like the fact that Simmons was drifting in and between them, Udogi was getting plenty of space down that left. Yeah. I think the other thing to consider is that you haven't got a centre forward with the movement of Harry Kane, because it's easy when you got a striker with movement like that. You can just look up, he's in space, bang, you hit him. There's no movement.
No, that's completely irrelevant. Richarlison was standing on a 6-yard box with about 50 yards of space.
James, one occasion, there were plenty of occasions when Udogi went down and there's no movement from Richarlison.
Every occasion he got the ball, there was an option and he did nothing. He lost the ball every time he went past the last first.
Richarlison never hits the near post, never tries to get off his man.
The relevance, though, because even if we had Kane there, Udogi can't get the ball across.
Well,
can't.
Maybe Richarlison, sticking up for Richarlison here. Maybe Richarlison's like, why am I going to make that run? The ball ain't coming in. Why am I going to do all the running for no reason?
That's right. There was no end product from Udogi yesterday, but by the same time, I must tell you something. There was no movements. The amount of times Romero
for 2 years, there's been no movement.
So why does Porro manage it?
Oh, Porro's on a different level technically to Udogi.
But there's still no movement.
Which point are you
Porro,
making, Lumo?
And look at some of the balls Porro puts in, and they look like they're bad balls, but they're not because there's no movement up front.
So why can't Udogi do that?
Put the ball in, does it?
Yeah. You kind of dictated. You just kind of contradicted your own argument. Why he can't deliver the ball because there's no movement, but Porro can, even though there's no movement.
No, Porro hits the early balls. He does that naturally, but unfortunately, unless he's putting Kudus down the right and Kudus is advanced, nothing happens, and that's the problem. We just don't have it. Kudus needs to be picking up the ball closer to their box where he can do more damage. And on the left, there's nothing, and there's nothing much from Richarlison. So we got a problem, haven't we?
Do you know? I don't think it. I think it's bigger problem. This whole like not crossing the ball when you get into space, etc. I think this is a bigger problem than just Tottenham. I think this is a problem at the top half of the table. It's getting those early crosses in when you get the chance. It's so hard to defend when you're running back towards your own goal. The problem with a lot of wingers and that nowadays is that they stop, they hold the ball up, they try and cut inside, etc. And it gives the defence time to get into position. It gets them static, ready to defend their boxes. I think a lot of the lower division teams, especially in Championship as well, they do this where they get a chance to cross, you cross it in, right? Even if people are not in the box, it's so hard to defend against, and everyone in the top half of the Premier League seems to want to score the perfect goal. It doesn't need to be.
That's true.
And sometimes I think you just need to go back to basics. If you've got a chance to cross the ball in, cross it. That's your job of your strikers, is to get in there and get on the end of it. If everyone's running towards that goal, you're more than likely to get to a position where you can get a tap in or something like that than you are if everyone stops and the winger's going backwards and forwards trying to get past his man. It's absolutely ludicrous. We've lost the complete basics of the game.
But you know what, Lee? This is the frustrating thing for me, because I think, listen, the Destiny Udogi I saw at Udinese was very good. The Destiny Udogi I'm seeing here, it feels like he's hesitant. Listen, confidence, is it because he's just come back from injury? But he seems very hesitant. He played some lovely, see, these things go unnoticed. He played some lovely 1-2s with Javi Simmons yesterday, who kept feeding him in, and you're like, just drill it across. You know what? If you do that and there's no one there, we're all going to have a go at Richie, or we're all going to have a go at Bergval for not getting in there, or whoever. But it just felt like there were so many occasions yesterday where everyone's saying we were really bad first half. I thought we were in and around their box a hell of a lot yesterday. Yeah. We made the keeper make some saves. We had a volley over the bar, right? We had a potential penalty appeal. We had Udogi getting into good positions. I don't think it was actually terrible in the first half, but it's a shame, Lee, for me, that he just gets in those positions, because we know Spence can't because he's right-footed. We know that he can't, but Udogi can. Just put your foot through it. Just put your foot through it. And that guy could be an assist machine. If we're honest, that guy could be an assist machine if he actually started crossing, but he wants to constantly cut back. Like James says, he wants 7-8 touches where you're like, he's fed you in, hit it. So that's my frustration with him, is that you can see he's a good footballer. He's got everything you need as a footballer. He's strong, he's powerful, he's quick. He's actually not bad on the ball. But there's no. The final ball is the hardest ball in football, right? The final ball.
I was killed this transfer window when it started. I said sell Udogi and buy Robinson. There are absolutely levels, and they're the kind of players we should be going for. Somebody that can do everything. And I think, unfortunately, fans tend to stick to players and love players and stick up for players regardless. And I think the only way they learn is when better comes in. Same with Brennan Johnson. Well, now Kudus has come in. Not one person's talking about Brennan Johnson. People were saying about Bergval or in the 10 or whoever. Then Simmons come in. Not one person's talking about that. It'll be the same with Son. People are saying, why did we sell Son? This is why we shouldn't have sold Son. Well, no. Son should have been sold, but there should have been a replacement, and there wasn't. The only reason, or the only way players will go, "Oh, actually, yeah, there's so much better out there," is when they're replaced. But unfortunately, Tottenham fans have this kind of fascination and fixation of just loving certain players regardless.
Can I bring up a topic that's going to unite us all? I think.
Disagree.
I think it's going to unite us all.
Is
Can
it
we
the
all
long
agree?
throw-ins?
Can we all agree, right? That our number 9, Richarlison.
Agreed.
I'm trying to find words to describe that I haven't used before. I'm genuinely embarrassed watching this man in a Spurs shirt. Not only is he absolutely crap with the football, it's the falling over, it's the theatrics, he is absolutely shocking. I'm going to ask a question. I cannot believe I'm going to ask this. Please tell me to shut up. I'm in a position, I don't know about you guys, where if Solanke and Milani aren't fit, I'm in a position where I'm thinking, do we give Scarlett a game up top? That's where I'm at with how shit Richarlison is. Do we give Scarlett a game up top?
Well, what worries me about that is that he was on the bench yesterday, right? And let's be fair, by the end of that match, Frank had thrown absolutely everything onto that pitch, yet Scarlett didn't get a chance.
Tells you all you need to know, doesn't it?
Yep.
About what he thinks of Scarlett.
Yep.
Chris,
But I think the question is,
by the way, it is what I think of Scarlett as well. I've said that's how bad we've got. That I'm talking about a guy that should have left the club 3 years ago. I'm now looking and going, surely you're better than Richarlison. He is the worst.
Yeah, I suppose Richarlison pulls out a worldie every 10 or 12 games, which is at least one thing that might be up on Scarlett. But this is what we do. We're doing the same on the left wing, right? We're just sort of arguing about a load of players who are
poor versus poor.
It's not even like they're slightly below the level we want. They are so far off it. And that is what is causing the problem yesterday. And is why we'll see it again, because at the moment we have so limited options that if they're not firing, we're pretty easy to set up against, I think, for even teams who are nowhere near as good as us. If you can shut Kudus down and Simmons down, we're not going to have anything at all. So that's why I expect to see this happen again fairly regularly over the next couple of months, to be honest.
The only thing I would say is Scarlett up front and Richarlison left any worse than Richarlison up front and Tell left? Is it worse? I don't know, because I haven't seen Scarlett have a run of games up front. No, I agree, but
footballers.
I haven't seen Scarlett up front for 5, 6, 7 games enough to go, you know what, absolutely dreadful. Whereas, I'm not saying he's good either, by the way. I mean, is he going to do any worse than Richarlison up front? I mean, we said there Richarlison scored a worldie, but didn't Scarlett come on and win a header for a goal or something recently? Or
I think he scored off his back, didn't he?
Do you know how many crosses have gone into the box this season in 6 league games? How many do you reckon?
A lot.
Is this including or excluding the throw-ins? Is that a cross?
I reckon Porro's for 40.
161 crosses in 6 games.
Yeah.
That must include the throw-ins as well, though, right? That can't be 160. I can't remember 160.
It could be throw-ins as well, Lee. There's 27 against Burnley, 19 against City, 20 against Bournemouth, 31 against West Ham, 32 against Brighton, and 32 yesterday.
Wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
I don't remember that many crosses yesterday. I remember when Porro came on, he put quite a few in.
I try not to remember anything from yesterday.
But
I tell you what's quite impressive.
Why hasn't Richie scored? If I'm wrong, tell me. Has Richie scored a header this year?
No, not this season.
He's really good in the air.
No, 2 shots against Burnley and the goal at Brighton last week.
Brighton, which he's getting a lot of credit for that goal. And let's be honest, he shanked that completely at the keeper. He got a lucky rebound.
And he got a good assist at City, didn't he? Put the ball in for Johnson, I think.
Although that was behind him, to be fair, there was a good finish, wasn't it, for Johnson?
Isn't it? Sorry, guys. This is just. I tell you why I find this so funny. Loads of clubs could probably have a conversation about, God, I can't believe that guy plays for us, right? We're sitting here talking about nearly all of our forwards in this manner. This is what we've assembled. And yet people are sitting here every game going, God, we don't look threatening up front. God, we ain't got a lot of goals in us. Even though, by the way, we are the 4th top goal scorers in the league, if I'm not wrong. Let me just fact check myself. Liverpool got 12, Arsenal 12, and City 14. Then it's Spurs and Chelsea. So only 3 clubs have scored more goals than us, right? I think that's a fucking miracle with these forwards. I think this is a miracle.
For me, I mean, I'm just going to say Harry Kane because it's Lubo's favourite topic, barring Gray. But with the one thing we've read about somebody like Harry Kane coming back was the one term and condition was we have to be playing Champions League football. I would be looking at this squad and whoever's in charge, if I was Harry Kane's agent or Harry Kane is saying, I ain't coming anywhere near this club until you've sorted that left winger out. Whoever's playing in Cam is playing in Cam and we're going to actually have a run at anything. And the point being is it's not just going to be players like Harry Kane or alike. No one's going to want to start coming if we ain't going to be bringing in the other people that are actually going to supply him, because it's all going to just be on that hill. I mean, I know we've got Milani. I think that's a bad egg, to be honest. I don't think that he's going to change much. I think Frank don't like him.
You know what, though? I mean, I'm not known as the most positive fan in the world. I take everything that you just said. I still think this is a time to be hopeful as a Spurs fan, because
agreed,
we have a manager, right, who's building foundations and building the house in a correct way. So I think we will improve just through him. And we also have got the hope that maybe we might act differently when it comes to the transfer windows. Maybe we won't, but at least we have hope, which I think for the last 20 odd years, we didn't have a lot of that. So I'm really optimistic, even though right now, yesterday was dreadful, and I expect more dreadful days in the imminent future.
Chris, can I tell you what else is dreadful? Can I tell you what else is dreadful? That we're an hour and 12 minutes into the show. We've got 170 likes and only 1 new subscriber throughout the entire show. I was going to gift 5 memberships to people, but I mean, surely for me to do something nice, people have to show some love, right? You guys show the love. I'll give out 5 free memberships. So please, can we smash that subscribe button? The link is pinned. And please smash the like button. It's really poor. 185 and we've got just under 600 in here. Sorry, mate. As you were.
I have a question. Obviously, we're all complaining about the front line. Is Milani going to come in and change it? Is he going to come in at all? Is he liked? Is he? What's the crack with that?
I think that's just a complete unknown, James. To be honest,
yeah.
We've seen what 15 minutes of him where he got a yellow card.
Do you think he's going to get a chance? Do you think he's falling out with Frank? Because a dead leg for 4 or 5 weeks or whatever it is, it seems a bit strange.
Imagine saying that in any normal job.
Come in and fall out with Frank after 5 minutes. It's just.
Well, the only
surely
thing
you've had that conversation with him before he came in. It makes
but
no
he
sense.
might have. Well, I was having a conversation with my brother, and I said,
did he have
Frank might have been at that point where Daniel Levy or Vinar, whoever's in charge, they could have gone to him and said, "Look, this is our last chance solution. It's all we can get, or there's no one." And he was gone, "I'll give him a go. Let's see what happens." But for me personally, the fact that he said, was it no dickhead policy or something? He'd come in, had 10 minutes where he looked like he strutted around the pitch and didn't do much, and then back out again with a dead leg. I just think there's a bit more to it than that.
But can we talk about the elephant in the room though? Like the thing is, everyone's going at Milani as though they know what's happened, and let's be fair, no one knows what's happened. This is a guy. Again, and Lubo, we've had this chat all summer. If you're going to sign players on the last day of the window who have not had a pre-season, this is what you get. This is what you get. you've got to remember, Spurs would have played, 6-7 friendlies, right? And the Super Cup. I don't know exactly how many, something at around 6-7 games before the season started, right? So you've got minutes in the legs, whether it's 20 years, 60 there, 90 there. Kolo Muani didn't have a pre-season for PSG, right? Kolo Muani, before he came on against Villarreal, hadn't played for 77 days, right? And this is what happens when you buy players on the last day of the window that haven't had a pre-season, you are behind. So every summer, and guys, clip this, because next summer, when we have the conversation again saying, get your players in early, people will go, I don't mind when they come in. Well, this is what happens. You're bringing in players. Simmons came in, didn't have a pre-season, didn't have any chance to integrate with the squad. They came in the last couple of days, and we go, perform. Go on, perform instantly. Go on, be amazing. And this is that's my problem with this. So Muani for me is an unknown in terms of what are we going to get out of him. But at the moment, Lubo, we talked about this earlier. It's almost like he's behind closed doors. It feels like he's having his pre-season, fitness-wise.
Well, he is. He played against Villarreal, which was Tuesday week ago, 12 days ago. In between Villarreal and Brighton, he got a dead leg. So that could have been on the Friday. That could have been that's 9 days ago. So, hopefully he's back. Hopefully he's back on Saturday. He's not back Saturday. I would expect him to be back for the Villa game on the 19th.
But he's got a dead leg. Surely he should be on the plane to Bodo, shouldn't he?
But the thing is, Lee, he looked so rusty that he needs a proper pre-season.
Yeah, I get that, but surely taking him and him being on the bench over Scarlett, who's not even getting on the pitch, and bringing him on for 20 minutes is got to be better than just leaving him behind.
Not if his figures in training are that low. There's no point.
But surely, if he needs a pre-season, he needs some minutes to get fit.
He needs minutes.
Yeah, but surely, if he needs a pre-season, he needs some sort of minutes to get fit. That is my concern in the fact that he's had the dead leg, no pre-season, but yet he's getting 0 minutes to get that pre-season under his belt anyway. Normally, you'd go 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there.
Hang on. But the thing is, we're making up a narrative here. If I'm right, tell me. If I'm not, you all will. I know none of you are shrinking violets. He came into the squad for Villarreal and got 10 minutes, then got the dead leg, and has missed the 9 games since. So when we're saying he's been out 4 weeks with it wasn't 4 weeks with a dead leg. Before, he wasn't fit. He hadn't a pre-season. So essentially what we're saying is he's got a dead leg. Now we need to start getting him some minutes. Is that fair to say? Like he now needs to start getting 10, 15, 20, whatever it is at the end of games.
Yeah, absolutely.
But why
he needs match minutes, not just training minutes.
Why do you have a pre-season that's several weeks to get players up to speed? You can't just, if the guy hasn't played for 11 weeks and it shows, he looked dreadful. He looked slow. He looked well.
I agree. I think my more so the point is 10 days for a dead leg and not playing a single minute. Is that a thing? The dead legs last 10 days? I mean, I remember being at school getting a proper dead leg and it hurt for 20 minutes and then you're running off again.
We used to get him every day. What is it kind of normal thing, wasn't it, James?
What's he had half of his leg cut off and it's called a dead leg? I don't get it.
James, I'm sure he's over the dead leg. They're just getting him fit.
So how's he going to get fit though? This is what we're saying. This is what we're saying though, Lugo. If he's over the dead leg, why didn't he get 5 minutes the weekend?
That's why we should take him on Tuesday, because we'd all be really happy, right? If we're 5-0 up with 20 minutes to go, stick him on. If you don't take him, you can't do it, can you?
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
yeah. Look, I think there's probably more to this behind the scenes. I think that the injury. This was my problem, and I said this. I like Muani as a player. I think he's decent. We'll see what he's made of, but it felt very much last chance saloon. Whoever said that, it very much felt like this was a last throw of the dice. And again, it goes back to when people are telling me that we had this amazing transfer window. This is why when I said we didn't, and everyone, Chris, how many people called me negative? Oh, we bought in 4 first-team players. Cool. Well, you bought 2 in on loan. You bought 2 in who weren't fit. 1 who's not had a pre-season at all. Like, surely this is why you have to prepare better. Surely this is why you have to get your players in earlier and prepare.
I take both sides of that argument, Sava. I can see why people say that it was a decent window. I can see your point. But what you can't do is you can't say it was an amazing window and then get upset when we have, you've got to have patience, basically. So why I'm in the middle is I think it was a good window, but I don't think it was complete. If you think it's complete, then you're going to get upset at games like yesterday, understandably. I just think we need that patience, right? I think you're right, but I still think it was a good window.
I'm not saying it wasn't decent, Chris, but what I'm saying is the fact that we're all sitting here, and I think so far everyone has acknowledged that we need a left winger, correct?
Yeah.
Everyone has acknowledged that we need a better centre forward at this football club, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
right. Hang on. Everyone has acknowledged that we need a ball playing number 8, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So when you're going into games and we're acknowledging that at least 3 of the 11 positions are very, very weak, people can't be telling me, wow, this is our best window for years. No, our best window for years would have been signing what we need. Our best window for years would have been at least get the left winger to replace Sonny, right?
The sad thing is, I think it was our best window for years, but that's not a reflection on how good the window was necessarily. Right? It's more a reflection on all the previous ones before it.
I think the window can be tagged as a step in the right direction.
Yeah,
but not a complete window. Let's
sure.
be honest. Milani is literally a stopgap because he will not be here next season, especially if we don't get Champions League.
Can I ask you this? So Lee, my point on this, by the way, was if you are bringing in Milani, who, by the way, I think was an absolute let's be fair, the day before he was meant to be joining Juventus and it fell through, right? So this is how we know this was a last-minute panic buy, right? If 2 of those 4 players we bought in, Lee, were loans, surely the reason for doing that is that you kick those problems down the road and then you spend in the areas you need to make up for that. But what we did was we kicked those problems down the road and then didn't capitalise by actually going and buying what we needed. That's why I'm frustrated, Lee.
But this is the frustration. This has been the frustration every year and why people get so wound up about the transfer windows, right? Let's be fair. I know Lubo loves a fact. I'll give you a fact. We spend money. He loves a fact. We spend money, right? But we always either spend it on crap or really late in the window. It's about the timing. We need to get the stuff in earlier. Kudos was a beacon this transfer window. I was like, right, we started off really well. Let's push on from that. Let's get the rest of it in. And then it all just petered out to being the same old, last minute deals here, last minute deals there. I mean, that's always been everyone's frustration. And that was mine again, this window.
Well, Lee, in fairness, the way the transfer policy has been run for 25 years has been poor.
We know, Lubo, I will sit here and agree with you that rat basically got far too involved, far too about him. That's why half of our transfer policies was either buy many, not great, or just get to a point where you pee the other managers, the other clubs off so much that they don't want to deal with you, right?
That's right.
We've all heard the stories.
And don't get him started on leaving.
No,
why would you do that, Lee?
It was
just,
a shame. No,
that seed.
He's gone, he's done. But let me just say, in terms of this transfer window, if we'd have got Morgan Gibbs-White for the 8, then he'd have come in 2 days after Kudus, or within 24 hours. So that would have been perfect.
Sure.
And if we'd have got Eze, and if we'd have bought Eze when he should have bought Eze, then we wouldn't have been picking up Javi Simmons on the Friday before the end of the transfer window on the Monday, 3 days before. So they did make efforts, but unfortunately they screwed it up.
But the effort which was made strung it out so much because of a single person that we understand from Parish and what he said, that it stopped these trends. I fully believe if we'd sorted out, I fully believe Eze would be a Spurs player if we hadn't have strung it out so long.
Sure.
Because it became to a point where Arsenal were not interested until it became a necessity for them because of the injury they got. And then they stepped in and there was no way we were going to come back from that.
That's not really true, though, is it? We know that. I mean, they'd already.
Well, they might have done it anyway, but at the end of the day, we took over 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks to
get to
that point.
I agree. This is a difficult one for me because I agree that it took too long, but I also disagree because the moment Tottenham would have finally agreed a fee with Palace, whether it was on day one of negotiations or day 15 or day 100. Arsenal would have been notified anyway and would have gone in. That's the one thing for me with Eze that I take comfort from. That okay, I wanted him, we didn't get him, but we all knew he wanted Arsenal.
But I was led to believe that we'd agreed a fee. What held it up is because of the terms of the payment. Typical Levy is what held it up for so long.
Yeah, but just because you've agreed a fee doesn't mean that the transfer follows in the next 24 hours. Right? There's no doubt Eze and his agent are on the phone to Arsenal going, look, if you don't move now, like Sava says, that would be true on day 1 or day 15.
Well, exactly. So why did they not do that on day 1? Because we'd agreed the fee a couple of weeks before. It was the terms of the payments. There
was no imminent transfer, right? There was nothing had been finalised. So until it gets to the point, I think what happened essentially with Eze, he wanted Arsenal, and he would have agreed with us.
He did. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. We know he wanted Arsenal. Absolutely.
But he was only ever going to join Tottenham if Arsenal were very clear that we're not coming in for him, right? And by all accounts, they'd agreed all the terms ages ago and just said, keep us informed of what happens. So I think Arsenal were possibly always coming in for him. The rumours were
to be fair, Chris, it should have never have got to that stage. He must have been worried that Arsenal weren't going to come in for him to even negotiate or talk with us. Otherwise, he should have just said, nope, I want Arsenal. That's what I'm waiting for. Don't even think about it.
The only criticism I have over the club on that is that we should have been more assertive and with Eze and just gone, all right, get the deal agreed as soon as we can with Palace, and then just go, right, if you want to join us, 48 hours, yes or no. If not, we move on. But just by waiting for ages.
Yeah, but
Morgan Gibbs White happened, didn't it? 2 weeks.
Yeah, but again, that can all be pulled back to if you've not agreed payment terms, can you really be saying to the player, right, here we go. You've got 48 hours to make a decision if you want. Look, the whole thing was a mess, right? And some people are saying in the chat that the whole Simmons deal was a PR cover up to, so that we didn't all go, oh my God, a few days later we've gone, oh, we've got Simmons. I can't believe, guys, already. Let's quickly talk about him because then I want to talk about Lubo's favourite, Vicario. I can't believe already. Javi Simmons, I don't know the exact number of minutes, but I don't believe he's completed 90 yet. I believe, if I'm going to make it up on the top of my head, I'm probably going to say he's played 180 minutes for Tottenham overall. I don't know, 150 minutes. I don't know. Somebody can find out. Straight away, we're doing that thing again. He's shit. He's not ready for the Premier League. He's not strong enough. Now, that's after last night. Guys, I'm going to take you back exactly a week ago where he rescued us against Brighton and everyone's going, what a fucking player. This guy's class. This is mental, isn't it? Like the guy hasn't even completed 90 minutes in a Spurs shirt and I'm being told he's a flop. He's not good enough. Isn't this all... I'll call it what it is. It's 2025 behavior at its best. Instant. Yeah. It must be instant.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with anything you said. Completely agree. People just jump into conclusions. He'll score a winner against Bodo and he'll be back again.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's the thing, actually. That's where you're spot on, mate. You know full well if he suddenly curls in an amazing goal and then he sets up one or two others against Bodo, our fan base will go from he's a flop to he is the best player in the Premier League. You just know that's going to happen. That is, like you say, Sava, that's 2025 behaviour.
a lot of people say about it being weak or slight or whatever. I mean, I'm not comparing the two because it's different positions, but everyone also said the same thing about Luka Modric. He gave him half a season to a season, and then a good footballer. For me, the way I look at it is a good footballer is a good footballer. Yeah, he may be weaker than your Polini or whatever in midfield, but when you've got a good footballer, they're always a threat. They could dictate the game. They can create stuff, and that's what you want him to do, right? We don't want him to be this big.
About Bernardo Silva, David Silva, Phil Foden. Basically, anyone that's not tall, anyone that's slight, isn't good enough, isn't strong enough. I think we saw a number of times yesterday and against Brighton that he dropped his shoulder, went past a player. Just yesterday, he just didn't have a good game, right? Like I don't see the drama.
I think he's just out of position.
Yeah, and I also think as well. I can only speak for myself, but I like my attacking midfielder to be slight, nimble. I like that. I think that when you go back and look at all the best, majority of them that you've just named 3 unbelievable ones there. You know, your Silvers, Bernardo, David De Bruyne, Kevin De Bruyne. They're not exactly massive, big, tall, strong guys, are they? You know, your Modric's, even people like Toni Kroos wasn't a massive geezer. For me, I think if you're slight, you have to be very technical, and I've seen enough from Simmons to go, yeah, you've got it. Whatever it is, you've got it as a footballer.
Yeah. I just find it a bit strange. It just needs, for me, I just think we've got to get out of this era of footballers move country, move to a new club, and within game one, you go on, perform like a seal, be brilliant. Some will, some won't. But look how many players down the years have been written off so quickly. Look at Son. Imagine we did this with Son in year one.
Yeah.
Didn't we do the same thing with Gareth Bale, like the greatest player I've ever seen, or one of the greatest players I've seen live for Tottenham?
Mate, Gareth Bale at left back was a curse for Tottenham. Everyone was saying he's cursed the team. Every time we played him at left back, he was we lost until Harry.
Could you imagine his first season under Spurs in today's climate with today's fans?
Oh, I tell you who else had a really ropey sort of first season and turned into one of the best Premier League players ever. And most fans will probably won't appreciate me saying this, but Henry, when he moved over, he wasn't great that first season.
Neither was Bergkamp.
You got to be patient, especially when they're
over Mars.
Yeah,
both of them.
It's funny though.
I just find it.
It's funny. I just find it amazing.
Do you know what? I shouldn't be shocked by this, having been on YouTube for years, but I just find it amazing that depending on which player is playing well in any given game, depends on the people in the chat's opinion of that footballer. Yeah. And I've never known people. The one thing is you can grill me all you want to call me negative. My opinion hasn't changed on players like Tell, Odegaard, Richarlison. I don't change from week to week. Yeah. Richie scores an overhead kick against Burnley. I'm one of the only fans not losing my mind while everyone else is going, this is the year. Oh my God.
And then he goes
missing
for 3 games.
Fit, we'll get the real Richarlison back from what? What do you mean? Back from when was he here? When has he ever been good?
You know that statement when people say, "Oh, if he stays fit, we'll get the real Richarlison." In my personal opinion, the injured Richarlison was better than the fully fit Richarlison, so I want that one back.
And can I answer this, right, Mick? No, because the difference is I've seen Javi Simmons. I've seen Javi Simmons do it for the Netherlands. I've seen Javi Simmons do it for RB Leipzig, right? I've seen Javi Simmons do it. I've never seen anything in Telenoda, but there's a very big difference. It's the same with the Liverpool fans right now. Florian Wirtz, quality footballer, but he hasn't set the world alight in 6 games. What a flop.
But hold on, Sava, hold on, I'm going to call you out on this though, because, you know, what was it, 3 weeks ago, we saw Tell score a brace against Serbia's under-21s, right? Who is probably the equivalent of Division 4 team in England. He's absolutely generational.
Oh, gosh.
That's what the basis of the Tell thing is half the time. It's like when he scores against unknown under-21s team, and it's just absolute madness.
Well, like Lubo's Bergval playmaker because he threaded through one ball against Doncaster.
Yeah. Javi Simmons. 321 minutes, 4 starting appearances, 1 as a sub. West Ham 71 minutes, Villarreal 77, Brighton 34 as sub, Doncaster 61 and 78 minutes yesterday. 321 minutes in 5 games.
321 minutes, get rid of him.
The problem with Tell and Odebear, right, is this. I look at it like this. If let's call them kids, right? They're young. They've still got time. They've got years left in their careers. The problem, I'll pick Tell out over Odebear because I don't think he's played as much as Tell. The problem with me is I know he's still young, but what you would always expect over the time that he's been at Tottenham and Bayern is to see some sort of progression, right? Some sort, and then you can look at him and go, right, he's getting there, he's getting better. For me, all I see with Tell is complete flatline. Yeah. He just does the same thing every game. He doesn't look like he's progressing. So what are people thinking that one day he's just going to wake up in the morning and go, I'm going to be world class today, and then all of a sudden he just becomes great? His trend line should be going up, but it's not. It's just plateauing, and that's what's frustrating for me when people say, "Oh, give him time. I'll give him time." Great, but in the time that I've seen him, I've not seen any progression. So I'm basing it off of that, and that's same with Odebear. I mean, Odebear's a weird one for me, right? Because I think he's got the talent to take a player on, right? I think he's got the speed. He's got. All I saw him do yesterday when he came on was to attempt it, but he just kept running into people, literally running into them. I don't know what it is with him, but he thinks he can only make an attempt to go round a player when he's about 4.5 inches from them. He just kept running into them, run. I'm just like, use your pace, go round them, just run. He does it a couple of times, and then 20 times he won't do it. It's frustration with these players because it's all we've got. It's all we've got to use, right? So if you're going to use them, do these things right, and we'll sort it out in January, or whatever. But they're just not. They don't. There's no consistency to them at all. That's what makes them bang average.
The stats I've got here for last season, Sav, Odebear doesn't differentiate between starting and sub. But appearances on the pitch during 90 minutes, Odebear had 20, Tell had 19. So pretty similar.
Look, I think the difficulty for me is first and foremost, who watched Odebear and Tell at their clubs and went, that's who we should sign. And I'm going to call. So this guy's calling me out. I'll do it. Right. I've bitten. I've nibbled. Here we go. Thumb wolf nods, right? What I love about this is whenever you're talking about a player, if you don't think they're good enough, right, you get silly things like this. I want the kid to succeed. I want everyone in a Spurs shirt to succeed. That doesn't mean I have to blindly say I'm seeing things that I'm not seeing, right? Listen, we want every footballer that signs for Tottenham to be the best player in the world. We want everyone to be a success. You've then gone and said, I don't root against our players, right? No one's rooting against him. He's just shown me nothing that I go, you're going to be good. Then you say things like, yeah, but some fans are ridiculously toxic. He's frustrating. He's not frustrating. He's poor. It's not that I'm watching a player with loads of ability and going, so give me an example. I'll tell you who's frustrating, right? Someone like Garnacho. That boy's got all the ability in the world. You've seen it. We've seen it, right? But he's very frustrating to watch, right? But you've seen it. Marcus Rashford is frustrating as a footballer. We've all seen his talent. I've never seen that from Odebear and Tell. And the problem is we live in this notion now, and it's fans like this, we live in this notion that we want everyone to be amazing, right? Whether or not we've seen anything to tell us that is the truth. And Lee hit the nail on the head, right? It's not that I need to see, I know, so I'm paraphrasing Lee, right? I'm paraphrasing it. It's not that I need to go right now, oh my God, Tell and Odebear are the best. What I should be seeing is some signs that, yeah, that's a little bit of class, that. I like that. I've not seen it. I didn't see it with Odebear at Burnley. I didn't see it with Odebear last season. I'm not seeing it with Odebear this season. Tell, I watch a lot of Bayern Munich. I think most of us watched a lot of Bayern Munich after Harry Kane went there. Didn't see it there. Didn't see it in his loan spell. Someone then decided with what they saw in the loan spell that they were going to drop 40 odd million on whatever. I don't know the exact number, whatever. We then bought him as well. And everyone is now just going, he's going to be good. 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 Not all of them are going to be good. And the problem is we keep identifying this level of footballer. That's the worry for me, guys. Not only did, sorry, I know I'm rambling, but at what point did someone go, well, we don't need Tell. We've got Odegaard that we need to develop. Do you know what I mean? At what stage someone go, do we need Odegaard and Tell? Surely we should wait and see if our investment in Odegaard works first before we buy another player who's no better. But we didn't. We went and bought both. Then when it came to the end of the window, people were going, oh, well, we couldn't get the left winger we needed. Well, maybe if we didn't spend 40 odd million on Tell, we'd have had a bit more money to spend on a left winger. I'm baffled by how people think. I'm baffled.
He's another one, right? I don't ask the question, what is Tell? I don't know.
Agreed.
I don't know what type of player he's been. It's like he doesn't know. Hence why he doesn't progress, because he's been used up front. He's been used on the left. No one really knows what he is, where he fits in.
You don't. I know where he fits in.
The Tell thing
fits in. Bin. What?
I genuinely think that Tell has got to be a contender for one of the worst signings we've ever made. And there's quite a few contenders. But as much as I never, ever rated a Lo Celso or Ndombele was frustrating, or even Timo Werner, at least they've got something in their back catalogue that can go, look, I've done this, or I did. I can understand why someone might have gone and I can totally get why we signed Ndombele. We should have done more research into him. But I can understand that someone went along to scout him and he had a great game and they've gone, that guy.
He's frustrating.
Exactly.
Who's that?
I literally
Ndombele.
cannot get my head around how do you sign a Tell? Because like Sava says, what is it that we've unless we've gone to those under 21 games and thought that's enough to blow.
50 million, take it.
Chris, you know what the Tell signing was.
Right?
You know what the Tell signing was. We all know it. We all know exactly what it was. The way of Bayern Munich and the Kane thing. It's all part of that. It's all part of it.
It's
That's
almost
why they dropped the price. You owe us money.
We'll give
you a bit of money off Tell if you sign him for.
We gave them Harry Kane. They gave us Tell. We gave them Harry Kane. We get Tell in return, and then we have to buy Harry Kane back. And we Tell and about £50 million down for Harry Kane.
50 million plus Tell for Harry Kane. That's exactly what it worked out at.
Tell didn't even want to come to Spurs. That's all you need to know.
But you've got to look right to this post. Big up, Ellie. Ellie, I'm still waiting for you to change your name to Queen Ellie Paulina, please. I thought you were going to do that earlier today. If you look right over the last 4 or 5 years, we've signed Tell, Hill, Odegaard, Werner twice. Now into that we signed Yang, Brennan Johnson, Richarlison, Solanke, Valise. And you know what? Every one of them has a little pocket in our fan base that does this. We're a better fan than you because we champion them. These players don't get signed by Arsenal. These players aren't getting signed by Newcastle's. These are players right now. I'll ask you this. Where do Tell and Odegaard start regularly in the Premier League? What level? What team do you have to go down to before Tell and Odegaard are regular starters for a team in the Premier League?
You don't.
Right. I'm watching Sunderland with Talby and Adingra on their wings. I'm taking Talby and Adingra over those guys. Sunderland just got promoted. Right? Sunderland just got promoted. That's where we're at with this. Burnley have got, is it Jadon Anthony? He's got 4 goals in 5 games. Jadon Anthony. Right? I'm not praising Jadon Anthony. My point is, how have these teams that are just getting promoted got better players in that position than Tottenham Hotspur? But sure, let's just praise everyone. Listen, I hope I'm wrong about all these players on the screen. I hope I'm wrong about all of them. I don't think I'm going to be wrong about any of them. I was told I was wrong about the following players, guys. I was told I was wrong about Ndombele. I was told I was wrong about Winks, about Skip, about Dyer, about Emerson Royale. I was told I was wrong about Ryan Sessegnon. I was told I was wrong about Janssen. I was told I was wrong about Lo Celso. I could go on and on. You get the message, right? These players are exactly the same as those players. These are weak signings. These are weak signings that the fan base, through hope rather than evidence, think are going to come good.
I think the most frustrating of all those players you've just listed, Sava, just want to mention two. The Celso I liked, but he was made of glass, unfortunately, and he was just injured the whole time. You know, in his last season at Spurs, whenever he came on, he did okay. He did well. Hardly played a bad game when he came on, but he was just injured the whole time. And Ndombele, for me, what has been probably one of the most frustrating players I have ever seen in my life. When he turned it on and he showed magic, you could see he had so much ability, but his head wasn't right, and that was the problem.
I think he even had people like Declan Rice saying that he was one of the best midfielders that he's seen in the Premier League. But like you said, that was only when he turned it on. The rest of the other 80 minutes of the game, he was dreadful.
But you know what, James? He could be man of the match in several games, but in the other 90%, you didn't see him. And
Agreed.
It was so frustrating because he had the lots, ability-wise. He had the lots. You know, it's such a shame. It's such a shame.
Yeah, look. And again, as I said, I'll happily, when a player proves me wrong, I'll sit up here and say he proved me wrong. I'm waiting for one of these bad signings to prove me wrong. That's. I mean, can any of you guys, who's proved you wrong? Be honest. In the last 5-10 years, has there been a player where you've gone, can't stand him, and then actually you go, oh, actually they did really well. They've got to be really good.
In his first season, I looked at Sonny, and he was either a 2 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. He was really inconsistent. And you're looking at it thinking, you know, what have we bought here? And after that, from his second season onwards, he was a different player.
So can I throw a spanner in the works on that one? I know Flowers will love this. Do you agree, though, the reason why Sonny became the player he became was because of Kane?
Because of Kane.
Because as soon as Kane was taken out of that equation, he's gone downhill, right?
Harry Kane is an elite footballer.
That is the old Shearer and Sutton kind of partnership, right? They just knew each other. The amount of goals came from Kane that Sonny scored was unbelievable.
I'm sure. But you know what, Lee, his percentage, he was so clinical, you know, with his finishing. I think there was one season he was the most clinical finisher in Europe.
Absolutely, he was. But again, that's another frustration with Sonny, and I'll put him in the same category like I did with Odobert earlier. When he's trying to take on a man, he used to run straight into him. Literally, it was so frustrating. If he could have got that out of it, I think he would have been an even better player than he actually was. Although he's in LA now, right now, and he's like actually cutting it up.
Yes. I would say one of the players that not proving me wrong, because I rated him anyway. I did rate this player anyway, but I think this season, Van de Ven is actually proving me wrong in the respect that he can actually defend. And last year, I think, in all fairness, I thought every time he went 1-on-1 with a striker, he got absolutely skinned alive. And I feel like this year he's actually kind of stood his man up rather than try to beat him for pace all the time. I think he's actually been smart defensively.
Well, guess what? 6 games in, and we're not talking about Romero and Van de Ven, are we?
No, it's true.
No. You're absolutely spot on. You're absolutely spot on. Neither of them have been.
Make sure, Sava, we've got enough time for the Vicario chat. I don't want to miss it, mate. Don't want to miss it.
We'll have 6 minutes of Vicario chat.
Let's skip it.
I've got 10 minutes left before I do end the show. By the way, a lot of people saying Sissoko. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry. I didn't rate Sissoko when he signed. I didn't rate Sissoko when he left. Do you know what? Sissoko for me runs around. Listen, if I want someone to run around, I could have just had Mo Farah in centre mid. But I mean, that was a horrible signing. Oh, God, our fans rate some really average footballers,
super quickly on Sissoko. Basically, what happened is his first season he looked like he'd won some sort of competition and never seen a football in his life. The second season, he went from absolutely abject embarrassment to just moderately crap. And all of our fan base went, "Oh my God, this guy has improved so much," which he sort of had, but he was still really poor, really poor.
Let's be honest, Chris. For players to get praise at Tottenham, they only have to make a 5-yard pass.
I mean, the main thing he did was launch the ball upfield in the last minute in Amsterdam, right? I mean, that was the main thing he did.
I mean, it's madness. Look, just want to have a chat. Listen, there's and by the way, yes, everybody, yes, I know that Sissoko was part of the team that got to a Champions League final, but that's like saying Harry Winks was a really good midfielder because he also played and got into the Champions League final. Look, just want to say, I'll be honest, guys, I'm getting more and more worried every week when I watch Vicario play football. I'm just going to put that right out there. I'm really, really, really worried when I watch him. I think he looks really weak. And what was worrying for me yesterday is I keep hearing he's a great shot stopper. I'm watching this man. Every time he parries a ball, he parries it out into danger. When we're hearing he's a great shot stopper, he parries it into danger. But my biggest issue with him, and I think yesterday kind of summed it up, Sam Johnston, who isn't even a great goalkeeper, right? Sam Johnston's a very average Premier League goalkeeper. Is that fair? Run-of-the-mill, very average. He came out, commanded his box, goes through everyone, punched everything. When he punched it, got distance on it. Every save he made, pushed away from the goal. And I'm watching that and going, oh, how can you do this and Vicario can't? I listen, I'm not saying he needs to be sold, but I am not really that sold on him as a good goalkeeper, guys. I'm just saying it.
All I'm going to say about Vicario, right, is I've said this, and listen, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to put Kinksky as a world-class goalkeeper or anything like that, but what Tottenham seem to have done here is what they usually do. They've taken, rather than going out and getting an all-round fantastic goalkeeper, we've got two goalkeepers that have got attributes that the other one can and can't do. If you put them two together, I think you'd have a really, really good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. I think Vicario, his reactions, his saves and that are fantastic. He's really good at that. When he's got the ball at his feet, it feels like to me that he's a goalkeeper that's never kicked a football before. Whereas I think Kinksky used to play out on pitch before becoming a regular goalkeeper, and therefore he's got the footwork. I think he looks a lot more solid, a lot more calm with the ball at his feet. But I don't think either of them really command their boxes, especially from crosses. For me, I don't think personally that number one spot is tied down by either of them. And I think there is question as to whether Kinksky can come in and challenge for that number one spot. Because I don't think Vicario is... I don't think he's got that nailed down. I think he looks too flaky some of the time. Really do. He does worry me a little bit. Although defensively we've been pretty good this season so far, but I don't know. I'm still not sold on him 100%, to be fair.
Yeah, me neither. Not sold.
I was just about to say, I'd do a swap with Mannion in the summer.
Oh, no, for sure.
About it. No, he's probably about the best in Europe at the moment, I would have thought.
I actually think Vicario, I think Sava, of all people, that I absolutely don't rate the guy, but I actually think he's been a little better this season at coming for crosses and stuff. But I do wonder, is that him being better or he's just better protected this season, right, compared to last season? He's not going to get exposed, which actually leads me to think, although as much as I value a keeper who would command his box more, I'd have concerns about Kinksky because he's let in some really weak shots when he has played for us. But with the way we're playing this season, he would also be a far less exposed than under an Ange system. So, and I by the way, I thought the save he made against Doncaster was that one save he made. I thought was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're going to have the same conversation that we had. It's not quite as bad because Vicario's not an absolute disgrace.
No, he's not.
Okay.
No, he's not.
But it's essentially the same conversation we've had about the centre forward and the left winger, where which one that's not good enough are we going to pick, right?
No, I think Vicario is well clear of Kinski. I think he's well clear of him. What was disappointing yesterday, I thought his footwork was worse than normal. It was appalling. I mean, it was just dreadful.
Kicking
and the header, and I watched it back on. I taped the match on Sky and listened to the comments that Andy Reid and I'm trying to think who else was on the show were making. And yes, he should have caught the header, no question. And he parried it, unfortunately, straight onto Polinia's leg. I think he also did make one very good save when Wolves. I mean, he kept us in the game with that save, didn't he? Ball was on the left-hand side. Guy, we were 1-2. Ball went right the way across from there.
Do you not think it was weak for the goal?
Yeah, no, I said he should have caught the ball. He should have caught it. He should have caught it. How did the guy get a free header? Spence was the wrong side of him, and then they're all standing, and nobody's near the guy that scored the goal. They're all stood there in a coma, like transfixed, ball watching. You know, there's 60,000 fans watching it, guys. You're not a fan, you're a player. Mark up and react. Sure. When the ball came off Polinia's leg, there should have been 2 or 3 Spurs players clearing it.
But my biggest
2 weeks in a row, though.
Look,
it's 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I rate Vicario. I actually think he's a good goalkeeper. But, you know, my biggest problem is I think it's almost like, I don't know if mentality is the right word, but I think he's a bit old school, as in parry it safe. It's almost like try to be safe. And I think in today's day and age, parrying it safe there's too many people in the box. So the kind of what he did yesterday is just not acceptable. He should be catching that. There's no need to parry that safe. Just pick the ball up. The week before, I think the week before where he let that go in, I think that's a rarity. I don't think he does that very often. But I think it's the day-to-day general footballing as a goalkeeper that I feel like he's actually getting worse at. And look, I like Vicario, but I think it's the common sense decisions that he messes up and the extremely hard ones that he pulled out, and that's not acceptable.
I don't think that is a big issue for me. We've got much bigger issues, but I would summarize him like this, which is simply to get back to 4th, 5th, 6th. I don't have a major issue with him. I don't think anybody challenges for a title seriously with a goalkeeper like Vicario, for me. No,
listen, look.
I agree,
Chris. As I said, I'm not sitting there saying he's the world's worst keeper. I'm just watching. For me, when we say keepers are good shot stoppers, I mean, I kind of hate that because that's their job. Like that's their first function, is to be a good shot stopper. But I'm watching more and more when I watch him at where the shot stop, where once he stopped the shot, where does the ball land? And it always seems to be in the danger zone, which is the first thing that's coached for goalkeepers, is don't parry it inside your 6-yard box, right? Don't parry it in front of you, right?
I disagree with that.
But you can disagree with that, but any goalkeeping coach will tell you that's the first thing you do.
I disagree with that. He always parries it into a danger zone. I don't think he always.
He did yesterday. I mean, he literally.
Yeah, but that's one game. That's.
Well, I've said this for 2 years with a guy. He just parries it into the danger zone. But
I actually think when he makes a save, he parries it fairly wide and out of the position. For me, what I would say is, I say he actually parries it normally pretty well. The problem is, for me, he shouldn't always be parrying it. He should be catching it. I think there's a difference. I wouldn't say the parrying is the problem. I actually think he normally saves it. And when he does save it, he normally pushes it wide or he pushes it out of the danger zone. The problem is the ones that he is doing that with, I would say 50% of them, he could probably catch them.
Oh, we'll have to disagree on that. When I watch him, I think he's always parrying right in front of him. But it's not just that for me. It's about I want a goalkeeper that commands their box. And more I'm watching these goalkeepers who everyone tells me they're all worse than Vicario. They come out, they command the corners and set pieces. They come out, they're punching far. I watch Vicario and it's just a little bit. He gets lost in the crowd. I don't know if he needs to bulk up or either half-assed or he's not got that oomph in him.
A bit like Nick Pope today, would you say? A bit like Nick Pope.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, Nick Pope's another one, a decent goalkeeper, no more, no less. I
think that's a very good comparison. Yeah.
I put him and Vicario in the same category. They're decent goalkeepers, decent. You're not winning big things with those goalkeepers. You're not over. You might have a good cup run, but you're not. Now, I'm not saying get rid of him, guys. I know everyone goes mad. I've never really. I've said this for years. Whoever's worked with me for years, I've said I just don't ever watch him and go, I feel safe. I've never felt safe with him in goal. I think he's powder puff. There you go. I'll say it. I think he's powder puff.
I think we need to find a keeper. You know, and I won't go back into the 70s and 80s. I'll be a bit more modern. We need a keeper as good as Lloris was when we bought him.
Yes,
that's the sort of level we need.
Yes, absolutely. Lloris was very good when we got him. I just think you want a goalkeeper that commands, don't you? You want a goalkeeper that the defenders feel comfortable with. Do you know what I mean? Like when a corner comes in, you think, I know he's going to come and clear the ball. And again, Sam Johnston was very good at this yesterday. He was very good at this. Every corner that came in, Johnston went through the crowd, bang, mine. I love that. I love that in a goalkeeper.
Your defenders should be worrying about defending the box, not protecting the keeper, right? Every time the keeper should be commanding it. And can I just say as well, Sava, that we have reached an absolute milestone moment where in this last conversation, you and Matt have absolutely agreed with each other 100%. This could be a new friendship. This could be a new milestone that you become the best of friends. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. Big up, Matt.
Yeah, Matt, big up to you, mate, in the chat. Yeah, listen, guys, I'm gonna wrap up the show in 2 minutes. I just wanted to first of all do a couple of super chats, and then I want to read something out to see if my guests and viewers agree. First and foremost, big up to David Crick, who said Xavi on the wing shows me only one thing, that Frank doesn't trust the others. January can't come quick enough. Bring us Fofana or Semenyo or Matoma. I mean, David, it's so baffling, isn't it? That we could have probably got all three of those in the summer if we had moved. Semenyo before he signed a contract. Matoma, we were told, was available for 50 odd million. And Fofana, we moved for him on the last day of the transfer window, which is just like embarrassing. So that's really frustrating, but I completely agree with you, David. And Semenyo's a top player, by the way. That's a real top player.
If you're a proper club, you're buying. Like he is, if not as good as Kudus and Simmons, if not better for me, he's so good.
He's a really good player.
Just want to show ambition, go and buy Semenyo in January.
Do you know how much Semenyo is going to cost in January?
What do we reckon? 70?
Didn't he sign a new contract?
He's just signed a 5-year contract.
Okay, that's the price of ambition, though.
I don't think it will be 70. That's my point. I think
what do you think? How much?
Them before.
Yeah, but now he has. What do you think that sort of player? What do you think he's worth or sellable? I'd still pay it. Well,
mate, absolutely. But it's whatever the club want now, right? Bournemouth are in that position where they go, well, you just signed a new deal. If so and so want you, we want big money.
Bournemouth don't have to sell. They don't have to sell. It will be whatever they will put the number on the table. It will be whatever they want, and if we can't match it, we don't need to sell. Simple as that.
Yeah. See, Semenyo, new deal, right? Anthony Gordon, people are talking about. He's got 5 years left on his contract. Savio just signed a brand new contract, right? This is the problem. If you keep waiting, it's going to be harder and harder to find these players, isn't it?
This is what I'm saying. January, don't pin all your hopes on January transfer window. Because as I've said a million times, a lot of the clubs do not need to sell in January. Therefore, you are going to be paying a premium for these players purely on the basis that if you want them, you have to pay the price. Otherwise, we don't need to sell them. It's as simple as that.
Lee, it's World Cup year. There'll be players who aren't playing who want to get in their international squads for the World Cup. That's why.
Ludo, that's not what you've just said it. players
what Lee
that
said.
are not playing that will
Yes.
want to, but then obviously we don't want players that are not playing for their clubs. We want players that are first team players that are playing week in, week out. That's the point. Otherwise, we're just going back to bang average players that don't want to, that can't get on the field for their own teams.
The thing is, Lubo, the players might want to leave. Right? The player might want to leave, but if the club turns around and goes, I don't want to let them go. We've got no money worries. All right, we'll bid 60. Give us 90. Give us 80. This is the problem. This is why when all of you were telling me the other day on the Spurs 5, hold out for your main target. Our main target, Savio, has just signed a new contract today. How's that panned out for us?
But these things happen, Sam.
No.
No, they don't.
Don't start doing that. Don't start doing that. I told you this, right? You guys all went, wouldn't you rather have your main target? Sure, then either get your main target, or if that main target's not obtainable, go and get number 2. If that's not available, go and get number 3.
So Frank could have had Lookman, but didn't want him. So
hang on. Whoa. Talk me through this process.
You've got to think you got to think he was holding out for Savio because maybe the player or maybe the agent has said, come back in January. You don't know.
But Lubo,
this story has come out so many times, it's ridiculous. Lookman didn't come to Spurs or Bayern Munich because both Spurs and Bayern Munich wanted a loan and then a buy option next year. Atalanta wanted all the money up front. End of story. And neither of us wanted to pay that amount of money up front. That was it. Because otherwise he'd be at Bayern Munich. Not us, he'd be at Bayern Munich.
With Lookman, why were they hawking him around every club to get rid of him and no one bought him? That would be my question.
No one wanted to stump the money up, including us and Bayern Munich.
It's got to be a good reason.
He fell out with a lot of their managers as well, and he was dropped again at the start of the season, wasn't he?
But the thing is, Lubo says it with such a surety. Frank didn't want him. Why did we offer on loan on the last day of the window then if Frank didn't want him?
Because it was a loan. It wasn't a permanent.
So Frank wanted him enough to have him for a year loan, but not to have him.
Because the thing I heard was that he wanted other players next summer. So if you can get Lookman in for a season to fill a gap, and you're looking for someone else.
I'm sorry. I do not believe that any manager goes into their board and goes, "Can we just fill a few gaps?" James, I'm sorry, that's not how you look at it.
James, we had the money to pay it. We only spent out on 2 players.
Yeah, but what you're saying, you're just conflicting about 8 arguments. Yeah, but you're conflicting about 3 or 4 arguments there. You've said that he doesn't. No, but you've just made about 3 or 4 different arguments there. You said A, Frank didn't want him. B, that we had the money to buy him. Then C, you went, but you only wanted him for a season because Frank only wants a stopgap. Why would Frank want a guy on loan rather than build a squad for the future? Why would he want that?
They made an inquiry. That was it. They made an inquiry, and that's what they were told. If Frank had wanted him that much, Frank would have gone back to the board and said, "We got the money. 2 of the players that are coming in are on loan. We've only spent 100 odd million."
How do you know this with such a surety?
And also, the board, if Frank would have come up to me and said, "Can I have this player?" Or Frank would have gone in and gone, "I really like this player," the board would have gone, "Yeah, that's nice. Good player. Silla.
So
we'll try and get him a loan."
So Frank wanted him enough that he'd said, "I'll take him for a year," but not enough.
That's my own looking at it. That's my take on it.
Sure,
but Frank did say that I only want players who I think are right for Spurs.
Sure.
At the end of the day, they didn't go in for him, did they?
But isn't this an easy cop out? Because forget Lookman, right? Lookman isn't the only left winger in world football. This is what drives me potty about the excuses you come out with for not getting it done. Son, there were 2 possibilities with Heung-min Son, right? People on the panel tell me if I'm chatting shit. I can only see 2 options. One, they knew he was going all summer, right? One, they knew he was going all summer and they knew that he was going after that game in Korea because we knew it was in the contract that he had to play. Or 2, they found out he was going during that time frame just before there when it was agreed he was going to LA. Either way, guys, whichever one of those 2 it was, we still had 5-6 weeks to go and get a top left winger. Malik Fofana, Lookman, Savio, whoever. So this conversation, is this what we're going to do? Every time Spurs don't buy what they need, is we're going to say, Frank only wants somebody who is absolutely right, but yet there was no one in the world that was right for Tottenham. And yet we've ended up with Tell and Odegaard.
No, he wanted Savio this summer, didn't he?
Sure.
Sure. And look how long the club hung on for Savio.
Right. So at no point there is a number 2 in the list, a number 3 in the list, a number 4 in the list.
Well, if you stick on one player for so long, you get to a week before the ends. Other clubs who are going to sell that player too, you've got to replace them. So you kill it for yourself.
I think also.
But Lookman was there to be bought. That's my point. He was there to be bought. We weren't going to get anybody else. We didn't buy him.
I actually think in that James Maddison, he did that YouTube thing. I'm pretty sure in that he actually says as well that we all knew Son was going, or everybody knew Son was going at the start of the season. He said something like Son was going. So there was confirmed, I think it was in that he was leaving at the start. For me, I'm sorry, Lou, but I think you kind of tripped yourself up there numerous of times with saying Frank wouldn't want him, but Frank wanted him on loan. But Frank, you either want someone or you don't. They're either a good egg or a bad egg. They don't. Well, he's a bad egg, but I'll take him just for 1 year as a bad egg. It doesn't make sense.
And look at this, Lubo.
Well, they did.
Malik Fofana.
We didn't want to come.
Malik Fofana has come out himself and said that Spurs bid for him on the last day of the window, but him and the club wouldn't do it on the last day. I mean, because it's too much upheaval. So if Thomas Frank wanted Fofana, did he only decide he wanted him on the last day of the window? Like, this is madness. Most clubs go and buy what they need, but you lot all told me, wouldn't you rather hold out for what you want? All right. So what's happening with Savio now? If that's the one guy he wanted and he signed a new contract, 3 weeks after the transfer window ends?
They're obviously re-looking at new left wingers now, aren't they? Because they have to.
So you don't
wait for the one you want. So you don't wait for the one you want then?
Well, Paratici used to look at 5 or 6 different players for one position, didn't he? Lange doesn't do that. So hopefully, if Paratici comes back, then
what is that saying? Is the saying the early bird catches the worm or something? Is it?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Yeah. So what we've did is we waited for our one target, and he's now just signed a new deal. And everyone went, yeah, but you wait for the right guy. That right guy is now not available. So now all this waiting for the right guy, and he's not even available anyway. What you're saying is wait for a guy that's never been available. I don't get it. If you can't get your first target, you move on. If you couldn't get more, for me, even Morgan Gibbs White, that went on for way too long. We should have said, look, are you doing a deal? Yes, no, I'm out of here. Off we go on to somebody else. It's mental for me.
Yeah. All right. Look, big up to, let me go back to the super chats. Big up to Enoch, who said, would love a Sancet or Stiller in our midfield. Yeah, I like Sancet. I can't see him leaving Bilbao because of the way the club works and only having players from their local area and yada, yada, yada. I like Stiller as well. Yeah, but players like this, there is quality footballers out there. This is my point. So before we all rave about very average footballers, there are quality players out there. Big up to you, Enoch. Really appreciate that. A user said, love you, Levy. Miss you. Bring our Tottenham back. Absolutely. Bring back Daniel Levy. Big up to you, my man. Thank you very much, A user. You've come back in again and said, which leg? I believe this was probably talking about Kolo Muani having a dead leg. God knows. But listen, we need to get him back fit because he's much better than Richarlison. Big up to you, my man. You come in again, said, why did Tell and Odegaard start a bakery in North London? Because every time they tried to deliver crosses, they ended up serving buns instead. I mean, this is wow. 10 out of 10 for effort, a 2 out of 10 for execution. But a user, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Big up to Destiny 5 as well. Thank you very, very much. Guys, I'm going to leave you with something before I redirect you. I just want to read out to you something that I wrote. And I know Lubo has seen this, but I want to read something that I wrote to you earlier. I'll leave this with you and I want to see if anyone agrees or disagrees. And I tried to not do it from an emotional fan point of view. I tried to do this from actually taking a whole stock of Tottenham Hotspur. Let me know if you guys agree with this, and I'll show you. Okay, this is something I wrote earlier. It's not poetry. Don't worry, Lee. It's not poetry. It's not a love. So, but right. So here is what I said earlier. Right. Let me blow that up for you. Which one is it? It's here. Let me blow that up for you. Right. So you can see there. I've said here. I've said, Heidi, here's my take on Spurs at the moment. From a coaching standpoint, the manager is going to need time to separate the players who can execute his ideas from those who can't. That process takes patience, planning, and consistent working on the training ground. The challenge is that supporters often want instant results, but it's important to recognise the current level of the squad and where the gaps are. This is often overlooked as many think water could be turned into wine within a few games. Looking at the group, there are clear strengths, but technical proficiency isn't one of them. Every successful side needs a controller in midfield, someone that can dictate tempo, connect phases, and manage the rhythm of the game. Spurs are lacking that profile right now, which makes it harder to control football matches. Another issue is progression into the striker. Too often when the ball goes into Richie, play breaks down because he isn't naturally suited to holding up the ball or linking effectively with runners. That limits Spurs' ability to build attacks through central areas and forces them to look wide or go direct. Then the byproduct of that is that Spurs only have one winger of note, Kudus, so that yet further limits Spurs' avenues of attacking. The squad also feels unbalanced, particularly in the forward areas where there's a shortage of players with both end product and technical quality. Until reinforcements arrive, the manager will focus on organisation and making the team difficult to beat. The upside is that he's more than capable of that, but his full vision won't be realised until he has players who can execute with greater technical consistency. People can agree or disagree as they see fit, but this is what I thought for a long time, and not addressing those issues in the summer have led me to carry on with this belief. Yes, the manager got it wrong yesterday. Yes, there will be ups and downs this season, but all in all, we have a good coach who needs time to work with the players, coaching staff, and to drum into the ownership the importance of quality versus quantity. P.S. No need to panic. We currently sit third. It's now fourth. We currently sit fourth in the league and have lost 1 out of 9 competitive games. Is that fair? Is what I'm asking before we go.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
Absolutely. It's a solid view. And interestingly enough, I know that we're probably frustrated because for the first time in a long time, we've seen a couple of draws. Right. When was the last, under a certain other person, did we actually ever draw a game? It was maybe a handful, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're so unused to seeing draws. It's just like, personally, I think again, the draw against, was it Brighton? Brighton was the last one, wasn't it? I think that was a fair result. Whereas other people nowadays are thinking, oh, we should have beaten them. No, I think Brighton was a fair result. I think 2-2 was a fair result.
I think it's maybe since Kane left. I think it's the first time in our squad that we've actually got good players. And I think with that comes excitement, expectation, hope. I think for the last couple of years, we haven't had anybody like Kudus or Xavi or even Polinia. I think when you have players like that in your squad, you kind of get hope, you get carried away, you get kind of, like I'm buzzing to watch Tottenham again. And with that, when it does come crashing down, it automatically hurts a lot more than it was last season because last season was expected.
Yeah, true. I just feel you're on mute, Lubo, by the way. You're on mute.
Surely people can see that we've made a decent start. It's been a good start, but we're missing key players in certain players in key positions, and because of that, we're underachieving because we're short squad wise. I mean, the squad's very thin anyway. We've got 23, 24 at the moment, if that. After injuries. So for me, we've done well to get to where we've got to so far. I didn't expect to be top 4 after 6 games.
No.
And I must tell you something, that result against Villarreal was a good result. Because A, we didn't play well. B, they had their better chances. And C, they are a very good side. So,
They're flying at the moment.
Pardon?
They're flying.
Yeah, well, we look back. That was a superb result to beat Villarreal. Was excellent.
Lupo, I just thought when I wrote that earlier, we will finish in 2 minutes. When I wrote that earlier, I just thought to myself, I want to write something down as to how I'm feeling overall without the kind of hoo-ha of YouTube and everyone getting way emotional, way over the top. And the thing is, when you look at everything in the cold light of day, we're going to bed on the 28th of September in the top four. Haven't hardly conceded any goals. We've only lost one game in all the competitions we've played in, and the manager's been here for a limited number of months. I genuinely don't think it's as bad as people are saying. I know they want to watch tiki-taka. I know they want to watch every single game being, free-flowing football, but surely we see what this guy is trying to actually make us hard to beat first. And I just think as a fan base, I think after watching so many defeats in the last 2 years, can't we be a little bit grateful for that rather than the moment we don't beat Wolves, it's this guy's shit, he needs to go, he's terrible. I just think we're very ungrateful right now.
Not only the number of defeats, but for everybody who watches all the games like myself, to watch a team for the last 2 years that are so wide open. We're literally inviting teams to attack us. And, Vicario, up to his injury, I think, against Man City, in fact, after he got back, after 3 months out, was it a broken foot he had at Man City? He had still made more saves than any other goalkeeper in the Premier League with 3 months out. And I think that stat just tells you how open we were as a team. Believe me, it was just horrendous, and we won Bilbao, and it was fantastic. And thank you, Ange, for that. But when you look at wanting Spurs to be a top team with sustainability, looking at it, I was thinking before Ange got sacked, because I think it was 13 days before after Bilbao or 16 days that he was still in the job, and I was thinking, I can't believe we're going to go into this season with this manager. And I'm really, really not looking forward to going to football anymore, because it was just horrendous. And he's starting to pull the whole thing back, and he's got to do it bit by bit. And it was a decent transfer window. Unfortunately, we didn't get everybody we wanted. Not only do we need an 8, a 9, and an 11. We need someone to cover for Mickey van de Ven as well. So we got 4 out of the 8 that we needed, basically. So you're looking at 50%. It was better than the previous year. We bought all kids and only Solanke, so that was poor. What Frank is fighting against at the moment is several years of bad transfer windows. And you look at Johnson, Tello, De Beer, Solanke; they were all Ange's choices.
And Gray.
Well, no, Gray will come good. Don't worry about him. He'll be okay. Might be a couple of years, but he'll be fine.
We nearly got through the whole show without talking about Archie Gray.
I didn't mention him. He wasn't involved yesterday. Didn't mention him. So people have just got to look at it and think, do you know what? From where we were, we got 5 points out the last 36 in the league last season, and we've got 11 points from the first 18 this season. It's different gravy, and he's got to start somewhere, and he hasn't got the players up front, so he's going to make sure we're hard to beat, and if we can nick results, we'll nick results. And that's, give him a chance, get Milani in, get Simmons up to speed with the Premier League. Kula will be back in 2 or 3 months, hopefully, and all of a sudden it's starting to look a little bit different.
Yeah, look, guys, let's leave it there. By the way, Josh, you make a great point. By the way, 6 clean sheets in 9. 6 clean
My
sheets
goalkeeper.
in 9. Your goalkeeper, fair enough. If we're accrediting it to that, yeah, sure. Guys, thank you very much. Listen, please go and follow all these guys on their socials. Lubo has obviously got a channel. It's the Spurs 5. Lee, I don't know. Lee, you part of a channel these days? What's going on? Are you part of anything?
Well, unofficially, I'm still Tottenham away, but it depends what happens with those guys and whether they're coming back or not.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, big up to each and every one of you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, James. Thank you, Lubo. Thank you, Lee. Guys, I'll be back tomorrow. We've got the Spurs 5 tomorrow night. It is Monday. And yeah, that's about it. I'm going to send you all over to Football's 12th Man podcast, where I think they're having a London panel debate. So feel free when you get over there, just smash in Sava raid. Much love. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.